Hey everyone, guess what? We do not have ugly swag. We have spaced out radio gear that you're going to want to wear. Why? Because no one wants to wear ugly clothing. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com and go shopping today. You'll be glad you did. And it's a great way to support our show. Once you get your gear, send us a picture of you rocking out in your SOR swag. spacedoutradio.com, shop there today, and make yourself look good.
Yes. Welcome to Spaced Out Radio, the After Hours radio show with me, your host, Mr. Rob G. Guys, it's going to be an awesome show tonight. We have Andrew Radziewicz, and he is an experiencer. He's a CE5 specialist, firefighter, all sorts of stuff. We're going to get into a lot of great stuff tonight. We'll have him for hours 1 and 2. We'll have Steve Stockton with Tales Untold Missing Persons Mysteries for hour 3, and obviously, we're going to have Drew Banky with the After Hours wrap up and some UFO weird news. It's going to be an awesome show tonight as we get ready to wrap this weekend up. Hope everybody is doing well tonight. Let's go ahead and see who came in first tonight. We have the medal positions. It's official. We have Race Fan with the gold, Miriam with the silver, and then Carl Bittner with the bronze. Let me go ahead and jump in and see who else came in here. Tonight's going to be an awesome shot. I can just feel it. I can feel it. Miriam, hey, how you doing? Carl Bittner, nice to see you. Hey there, Ange. Thanks for coming on in. Roger Mary, October 16, 1977, Holloman Air Force Base UFO incident. All nuclear weapons shut down by UFOs. October 17, 1973, Alabama Metal Men. October 18, 1973, Coin UFO incident. Roger Murray always keeps us informed, and we appreciate it. Thanks for coming in. Roger Murray, we appreciate you, sir. We got Ann Joanne in the building. Thanks for coming in, Ann Joanne. We have JSCO77. Thanks for showing up tonight. We got Mel WD40 getting us lubed up and ready to get into the show. Appreciate you, man, for coming on in. Kitty Catty Whack, I see you out there. Thanks for coming on in tonight. We appreciate you. We have as well Joe Monk, my guy Joe Monk, winner of the trivia on the Social Dig. Congratulations, Joe Monk. Thanks for coming on in. We got Lars Jansen in the building. Hey, Lars, we got the Perminator. We got, let's see, Paula Foss. Hey, Paula Foss, long time. Nice to see you here. We got Matt Fade. Thanks for coming on in saying, yes, I finally made an episode. We appreciate you being here, too. We got Candy Wolf. Thanks for coming on in. I'm doing great, too, Candy Wolf. Thanks for asking. We got Terrence Wills saying, hello, fellow aliens. Yeah, they appreciate you coming on in. Miss Mary, thanks for showing up. Paramarv, yes. Carl Bittner saying rage. That's what I'm talking about. That's how we get pumped up for the show, get ready to get going. Thanks for coming, Jessica S. as well. and Operation Shutdown. We're getting ready to jump into the show, guys. I can't get to everyone. I will get you in a minute, though. Let's get ready to go. Let me start the podcast side. Welcome to Spaced Out Radio After Hours Radio Show. My name is Mr. Rob G. Tonight we have Andrew Radziewicz, who will be joining us for hours 1 and 2. Then hour 3 we'll have Drew Banky, Steve Stockton. Awesome show. Let's get ready to go to the radio, guys. Let's go. Greetings, space travelers. Welcome home. You just tuned your dial to Spaced Out Radio, the only place where you can own the night. I am your host, Mr. Rob G, and we're broadcasting to you on terrestrial affiliates across North America and digital platforms all around the world. Don't forget, you can access our archives for absolutely free at youtube.com/@spacedoutradio. While you're there, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Also, don't forget to follow us on X and Instagram at Spaced Out Radio and that Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where the options are endless. You can stay up to date with the SOR Newswire. Get yourself some official Spaced Out swag. Plus, rock out to the man you hear right there, Mr. Bumblefoot, and oh, so much more. Once again, we're going to have a great show tonight. We have Andrew Radziewicz, who is Psychic Medium, CE5 specialist, firefighter, long list of things. We're going to get into some great stuff tonight, and we're not going to delay. We're going to jump right on into the show. So let me go ahead and set the stage for our guest here tonight and get ready to get them up in here, guys. I hope you guys are all doing well on this Sunday as we get ready to take it into the week, right? That means no after hours until next Saturday, right? Tisk, tisk. But here we go. In 1999, Andrew Radziewicz was serving in the U.S. Coast Guard, had a life-changing UFO encounter with 20 other witnesses. Mind-blowing. We'll get into that. This Nimitz-style encounter would eventually lead Andrew to meet Dr. Stephen Greer and learn CE5 method in 2011. We're just going to hold it right there. We're not going to tell the whole story yet. Let's go ahead and get our guest in here for the night, Andrew Radziewicz. How you doing, Andrew?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on, Rob.
Man, I've been waiting for the show. I've been waiting for this show. You know, I've seen you on other podcasts. I'm like, yeah, got to have a conversation with Andrew. Let's get him in here. And you're here, and we're about to do it. So it's awesome. I'm just awesome. So here's how I like to do it. And pretty much with any new guest, first time, we want to know what led you into the phenomena. How'd you get here? What led you to what we're doing right here today?
Well, growing up as a kid, I used to watch a TV show, Unsolved Mysteries, and I'm sure plenty of people in the chat know that show, and it's making it come around again. But this is back in the day, like the early '90s. I was watching it, and there was an episode on in 1993. I was 13 years old, and I was watching with my grandmother, and it was like a ghost episode. They had like a spirit and a ghost on TV, and I looked at my grandmother, and out of nowhere, I just looked at her, and I said, "Gram, when you go to heaven one day, can you come back and give me a sign like that, like they have on TV? But like, I don't want to see like a feather on the ground or a bird outside. I want that, what they're doing on TV." And she just looked at me and goes, "Okay, I promise I will." And then we never said another word about that. And then I said, well, if she, holds up her end of this, then I'll tell everyone. So fast forward in time, she held up her end, and then now it's my job to share with everyone how this all went down. And I can get into that if you'd like.
Yeah, we definitely are going to get into that. That's amazing. You're talking about Unsolved Mystery. That just takes me back. They do have the new version, but it's nothing like the original. I forgot. Was it Robert Stack, right?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. You're talking about some creepy stuff. I have so many stories of being completely spooked to death after watching one of those episodes, man. I'm telling you. So that's awesome. And I've considered that. That's actually something that, I've been, since I've gotten to the phenomena and kind of understood, and I've had shadow people and all sorts of things we'll talk about, but I now have confirmation that there is something on that other side, another realm. And it's actually kind of good news because I get to go to my elders, like to my mother and to people who wouldn't necessarily believe in afterlife, and kind of reassure them like, hey, there's something there. And then so I've thought about doing exactly what you said there and saying, hey, when you get over there, you know, kind of do something to kind of let me know that you're like here. You know what I mean? So that's awesome that you have the mind to do that so young. And you know, with that being said, so you were opened up to the possibility of paranormal being there based off of the show that you watched. Did you have any actual experience or encounter with anything, you know, early on, or did that just happen later on in life?
Well, I had a best friend die when I was 5, and then one passed when I was 13. So right around the time I was getting into Unsolved and everything. So after my friends had passed, I felt that I had some sort of contact. But we're going back to like 1985. Okay, I'm 5. So it's not like I can go home and go to the kitchen table and say, hey, mom and dad, you know, a ghost reel and this and that. It wasn't like that. But I was having something happening, you know, a sighting, a contact, a presence. I could sense something. And then, like I said, when I was 13 years old and I said this to my grandmother, I said this to her and I never brought it up again until 2010 rolls around. My grandmother gets sick. And then after she passed, I was out at a restaurant with my mother in town where I grew up. And a guy came into the restaurant and he walks up to me and my mom. And he said, this is 3 weeks after my grandmother passed. And he says to us, he goes, did someone in your family just pass that had cancer right here on their face? He pointed to the exact spot of where my grandmother had her skin cancer. And I go, yeah. And he goes, which one of you or your mom, who was born on Easter Sunday? And my mom was born on Easter Sunday in 1954. And I didn't know this guy. And he goes, I'm a psychic. I'm doing a reading here at the restaurant. Like, yeah, keep going. You know, whatever, keep going, man. And he kept going. And everything was spot on. And that wasn't like, oh, I'm done, I'm sold. No. I waited a year. I tracked the guy down a year later. I got a one-on-one reading, just me and him for an hour long. And at the end of the reading, he said to me, he goes, Andrew, you know you have the gift, right? I said, what are you talking about? I'm a firefighter. I'm happy, man. I'd been a fireman for like 5-6 years at that point. He goes, no. He goes, you have the gift of being a medium. You're getting messages. You're seeing things around you. I go, okay, what do I do with that? He goes, I can help you interpret the signs that are around and how to process what's going on. I go, okay, show me how to do that. And he goes, come to my studio on the weekend and I train people how to do this. So I'm open-minded, but skeptical, right, at that moment. So I went to his studio on the weekend. I sat in a room full of 20 people I did not know. We meditated for 5 minutes, and then he paired me up with a young lady that I had never seen before. We sat face to face, knee to knee, literally. He goes, okay, just tell her what you're seeing. I looked at her, and all of a sudden, I got this tingle up my spine, like the hair on the back of my neck, and my spine was standing up. I could feel the hair raising up. I looked at her, and right above her, it was like a rainbow, but reverse, like a reverse U right above this lady. And it was in black and white. And I started to see images coming in. I say to this lady, I go, okay, I'm seeing a car. It's going down the block, but in reverse, it's hitting a tree and someone's left leg is being cut off. And there's a V above the person. So is this person's name Vinny or Vince? Is there some V connection? The lady looks dead at me and she goes, that happened to my Uncle Vinny. Wow. And that's the first time I ever did anything like that. So I was like, whoa, is this lady being real with me? Or is this like is this a trick or what's going on? And then every weekend I was going there training, doing this. And about 6 months into it, I finally had that experience with someone where I was like, okay, this is for real now. You know what I mean? Something is going on that I cannot explain. I've been doing this now for 6 months. I can't explain this, but there's something going on that we can't, sense with our normal perceptions. Yet when I go into a meditative state, this thing opens up and I see these images.
Wow, that is amazing, actually. And that's one of the reasons why I'm scared to go to a psychic, because I've talked to people who have those same experiences where someone says something that they couldn't possibly know, and I'm like, okay, there's no messing around with that. That's real. So I don't want, a psychic can tell you about something, maybe some things that are coming in your future, and that's just kind of why I stay away from that. But with you, and I've talked to other psychics as well, psychic mediums, and they say that when you're delivering the information, you're not really even thinking, right? You're just kind of just saying what you see. Is that kind of how it works? Or
Yes. So if you start thinking, then you're thinking, you're not reading. So if I'm doing a reading, it's like Andrew's to the side, and then I'm just channeling. You want to call it channeling, that's fine. Or I like to say I'm tapping into the stream of consciousness of whatever's around, right? Whatever you want to call it. You want to call it a pile of bubblegum or consciousness, call it whatever you want. But there's something around when I'm around people, especially ones that I've never met, never seen before. Because if I know you or I've seen you before, you could say, oh, well, you might know something about me. We grew up together, but I've been doing this now for 15 years. That something else is going on. Yeah, people might come to me for, past, present, future things, but then things about their loved ones that nobody can know. And I mean intimate details about people's childhood, things that they've never shared with anyone, things that are not Googleable or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, it's just very fascinating.
And I know, so you said that's 2010. So I know you had prior to that, and we're gonna actually put a pin in that because I want to come back to the psychic mediumship, because I also heard that you done work, or maybe still do work, as a mortician.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's very important though, right at that time when I met the psychic, okay, I met the psychic, and then I met Dr. Stephen Greer literally like a month later. So it was crazy, right? I go meet this psychic, this stuff happens. Then I go to fly to California to the desert to meet Dr. Stephen Greer, because this is all connected. That's why I'm sharing this now. So I met Greer and learned how to do CE5, which is human initiated contact, proactive contact with UFOs. Now, this is interesting because when I met the psychic, he said to me, he goes, Andrew, if you want to communicate with your grandmother or someone that passed, ask for a sign. So I went outside after I met the psychic. I was outside. It was dark out. And I go, Graham, if you're around, if you could hear me, if you could see me, if you could sense me, give me a sign. And I saw a ball of light glide across the sky. So I was like, that's interesting. Is that a UFO? Like, what's going on here? Then I meet Dr. Greer, right? And he teaches me the protocols, how to make contact with UFOs. And the same thing is happening. Go outside, these balls of light are appearing. So for me personally, and the hundreds of people that I've met over the years, I do believe that there's a connection with our loved ones and the afterlife. Okay, I feel that UFOs, our loved ones, the afterlife, these UFOs, I feel that they're all in this space in between, and that when we meditate, we could tap into this realm. Now, just so you asked about the mortician thing, when I moved to Australia, okay, in 2019, so about 5 years ago, I got a job in a funeral home as a mortician. So I worked, and I was working as a mortician. Never did that prior. It was my first time doing it here. Yes, they make contact. Yes, they communicate with us. Yes, it's all connected. And the lady that trained me to work in the funeral home as a mortician was a psychic. Go figure. But I didn't know that until I started working, you know what I mean? And we talked. So everything's connected. You follow the path, you meet the right people, you see all of this stuff is connected. And I had experiences in the funeral home. We can get into that as well, with the dead and the living. And oh yeah, it's all there.
And I'll tell you, it's a funny thing because I interviewed Jim White. He's a native Santee Dakota Nation Native American. And I asked him about, the UFOs that they would see in the sky, if those were considered spiritual, or kind of how they thought about that. And what he did tell me was that, they would look at things like, I guess, shooting stars as, like confirmation of a past loved one or something along those lines. So it's kind of funny you say that, because that kind of lines up with that. But and the mortician thing in psychic mediumship, those things being connected is a whole thing we're going to get into. But I notice you have this accent, awesome accent, by the way, and I know where it's from. You know, I just always been enamored with the East Coast New York sort of accent, and so you kind of embody that really well. But let's go back to the 1999, as I read in your bio here, where you with the Coast Guard,
Sure.
life-changing encounter, 20 witnesses. Let's hear it.
So I was the night watchman on the Coast Guard Code of Durable down in St. Pete, Florida. So down in the southern part of Florida, we used to go and patrol like the Gulf of Mexico, the Caribbean. I'm the lone night watchman on the boat out at sea. It's after midnight. It's late. I'm 19 years old. I'm a kid. You know what I mean? I'm up on top of the boat by myself, and you had to scan the perimeter with night vision goggles or regular binoculars. Anything you see, you report down. You let the officer on duty know. So I see these two round objects in the sky. Okay. And at the time, I didn't know what they were. I just saw these two objects. It looked like one was slightly staggered in front of the other, but they were going at the same pace, but they were slightly at a different, you know, one was just slightly in front of the other one. So I call down, the officer on duty comes up. We're both looking at these objects. Next thing I know, there's several sailors coming up, guys I work with. Next thing I know, the captain of the boat is up there. Now, if you're waking up the captain of the boat after midnight out at sea on patrol, it better be for something important because he don't want to get up, trust me. So he's up there. I'm looking around. There's like 20 of us. We're all looking, passing binoculars around, goggles. I don't know exactly how long. 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I didn't check my watch because I didn't want to lose sight of what I saw. And I film stuff. Okay, we'll get into that. But I hate filming. Why? Because I don't want to miss the experience. When you see something and you take your eye off and you grab a camera or a cell phone, you could lose sight of it and then it's gone. I've had that happen. It's the worst. The first time I saw something like that, right in the sky, I'm looking, we're all watching these things. These two round objects, they come together. And when they came together, they merged as one. And they didn't shoot off in any direction. No trace, no trail, no sound. They just vanished. So I'm looking at the people next to me like, what the heck? You know, I'd never seen something like that with my own eyes out at sea. I'm in the military, right? And this is 1999. This is pre 9/11. If something crossed the front or back of the boat and they don't radio to you to tell you who they are, we had, but if there was a law we had that we could shoot them down. So people are like, oh, is that a black project or military or what, you know, whatever. I'm like, I don't know. All I could tell you is if it was a secret project, they took a gigantic chance because we could have engaged with them. This is pre 9/11. That would have been pretty crazy to do. And we could have engaged. So I don't know. However, with everything else that happened after and in my life, I think that that was just kind of the beginning of things to come.
Kind of getting you set up for everything else. So let me ask you this, because obviously that encounter, I'm sure to a lot of people, sounds pretty familiar when we think about the Tic Tac encounter and you know, and also the video the Corbell released with those triangle UAPs kind of swarming the Navy ship. And you would think that those things would be engaged, right? There's something there that says that you can engage. And then that's why I always say, you know, because people will say, oh, those were the Chinese drones that were sent out to swarm. Okay, they would have been engaged then. There would have been some sort of something that happened from behind that. And it was just so weird that nothing happened. That kind of, to me, says that they know it's not adversarial. They know it's not ours. And so then what does that leave us here? So, you know, I don't know. What do you think about that?
Well, with all of these disclosures of people coming forward, to me, it's just too perfect. Okay. Like they come, they have these, you know, incredible stories, all these things happen, but you have to have permission to talk about these things. Now, after what I saw, I wasn't debriefed. I wasn't brought into a room and shut down by the men in black. Nothing like that. Okay. Why? Because I talk to guys I work with. They're like, dude, you're going to see hundreds of these things in your career. It's nothing new. It's just people don't come forward and share this stuff. So with these things that are going on with the, you know, the Nimitz and all these things, I know people love Dr. Greer. Some people hate him. As soon as these videos came out, he came out and said, these are skunk works. This is nothing new. They've had these things around. This is not UFO. This is not aliens. This is the real thing. They'll never see the light of day. That I definitely agree with. If we really have the aliens in the windows of the craft, like Lou Elizondo has said, I've seen videos with aliens in the windows of the craft. That'll never see the light of day. That's the real thing, though, if that exists. This other stuff, it's too perfect. And with these pilots coming out, if this was that sensitive, they wouldn't be opening their mouths. Okay, they'd be thrown in the brig. They'd be gone. You wouldn't even get the chance to go on a show and talk. This is how sensitive this thing is because of the technology with the real thing. So with these people and coming out with these stories, I'm very skeptical. Okay, when I met Dr. Greer, I asked him about Bob Lazar. And this is in 2011 when I met Greer. I go, what about Bob Lazar? He goes, I met Bob. He goes, Bob, what he saw? Yeah, he saw that, but it was staged. And they knew he would talk, and he knew he wasn't that credible, and he knew he would share this. He was friends with John Lear, and he did. So they just let him share his story. If they wanted to harm him or do something, they would just mess with him. They would do it. He'd be gone. So that makes sense to me. Once again, these people don't play around. They don't just mess. They're going to come and get you. They're going to get you. So, but I've never had anything like that happen. I don't know. I don't want to do part of that stuff.
So that's where the controversy starts to come in, because yet, just like you said, there's some people that are for Dr. Greer. There's some people that are against the theories that he comes with. And so let me ask you this then. For your sighting in 1999, looking back now, what do you think those were? Do you think they were man-made, or do you think they were extraterrestrial?
From what I understand, that was the real thing because of how they vanished.
Okay.
From and also going back to the time, right? So 1999, we didn't have iPhones and handheld cameras in our pocket. This is a totally different world. Okay, totally different. So once again, and like I said, the after effect and what happened, guys are like, oh man, I've seen tons of things like that. I was never formally told, hey, this is what you saw. However, I was never formally told either, don't ever share what you talked about. So that's why I'm sharing it. I would respect if someone said, hey, if I got debriefed or something like that happened, of course I couldn't share it. So that didn't happen. And with the irregular movement, right, how they came together, just vanished like that, no trace, no trail, no sound. And with the hundreds of other sightings that I have seen, with the footage that I've taken and had analyzed by MUFON and told that's the real thing, yeah, I would say that what I saw, I wish I could have filmed it, but that's 1999. It would have been a horrible camera. Yeah, that's the real thing.
So let me ask you this. Okay, as we got about a minute left to go to first break here. Have you since then, in current time, talked to any of your former crewmates and kind of brought this back up? And what did they say if you have?
Yeah, so I had a friend that just retired, and he's like, "Oh man, I want to come. I want to come talk." I go, "Anytime you want, bro. I would love that, of course, because most of the guys I was in with, there's, a lot of them is still in, so they're not going to come out, and I would never share their names. But I go, hey, they know who they are. They want to come forward and share it. I would, and that's the other thing. These guys that are sharing these stories, I would never ever release the name of anyone I worked at that saw that. That's not right. Because some of these guys are still serving. Some of these guys want nothing to do with this wacky side of ufology. I'm the one that took this on the chin and did whatever. Some of them want nothing to do with it. So I would never share someone's name. And I saw stuff when I was a firefighter in the firehouse. Same thing. I would never drop the name of the guys that I saw it with. That's private. It's no one's business. So these guys that are going out and sharing their commanding officer's name and all these things, whoa, man, I don't agree with that. This stuff we're talking about. This is not for everyone.
Okay, and that's a perfect place to end right there as we get ready to go into our first break. First 30 minutes went really quick here with our guest, Andrew Radziewicz. We're going to get into some other stuff. There's a long list of things that we have to talk about tonight. You guys want to make sure you don't go anywhere. Stay right here. The After Hours radio show right here on Spaced Out Radio. We'll be right back. We are clear. We are clear. Yeah, good stuff, Andrew. Good stuff. Good stuff. I think we're on a good track right now. And so here's what I would like to do, because I know you have some videos on your channel of some objects. Are we okay to show some of those tonight?
Oh, yeah. Share whatever's there. Yeah.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll show them during the next. Actually, I might have one queued up right now.
From
Yeah,
YouTube or Instagram
yeah,
or what?
YouTube.
YouTube.
As we have, we were able to show these during the break because the radio audience isn't tuned in right now. So let me see if I can bring one up here. 3 UFOs power up. Let's see. Oh gosh, let me see here. I'll have to mute that. Let's see. All right, and yeah. So what is this we're looking at here? This did you
So
take this?
yeah, there's one actually. This is a good one. If you go down, it says "Watch as I summon UFOs."
Okay, let me see here.
And it says "Watch as I summon UFOs and have them professionally analyzed." That's a good one to share.
Where would I find that at in
Keep
these
going
short?
down.
Okay.
Yeah, keep going down. It's that's under videos.
Okay,
It's
so on
2
hold.
minutes, 2 minutes and 34 seconds. Yep, keep going down. Keep going. Yep, right there, the green. That's it.
Green. Okay.
Yep, that green, and then even that. Yep, that's fine. Because that's analyzed too. People could go, "Oh, how do you know it's real?" and blah blah blah. You know.
Is there any copyright music on it?
All right, not bad. It was a minute.
No.
Okay, good.
Nope.
That's it, bro. Right there.
Yeah, so there's a reference. That's the plane to the right, guys, and that's the craft in the background. I don't know, man. That's weird. It might be.
Wow. See those lights for the all white?
Yeah, there's no navigation, normal navigation lights on it.
That's a military plane, bro. That's
They're all the same coloured lights. Usually got green and red,
yeah.
or blue and red.
Look at that thing cooking.
Whoa!
Right there, bro. Get it. There's some serious right.
Now, it's the size of Sirius nearly.
Wow. Look how fast that is.
That's turning, man. Look at it turning. Man, that's doing a loop, like a U-turn.
All right, not bad. It was a minute off. 8:54. That's it, bro. Right there. Craft right here, bro. Right here in the sky. Big yellow.
Whoa, man.
Get that.
I've got it on here. It's behind the tree, but there it is. Man, that is massive.
Coming, bro. It's coming. That thing, that's a fucking mothership, bro. Look at the size of that thing.
He grabbed this. Grab this. Grab this. I'll get the good one.
What did I ask? Show yourself in the sky and on the ground in a way that's safe. That is enormous.
That is huge.
Bro, that's the biggest craft I've seen in a long time.
That is huge.
Wow.
Bro, that's the biggest craft I've seen in a long time. Wow.
That is huge.
Bro, that's the biggest craft I've seen in a long time. Wow.
So would you consider that an orb? Did it seem to have any physical physical?
Yeah, that was an orb. The thing was gigantic. That I had analyzed by MUFON too. It was put in a documentary.
Wow.
It
Okay.
was tremendous. Yeah, the thing was just huge and low. Very low to the ground. That's the thing. It's it's great to see this stuff, but you got to get it analyzed. So Jason Gleaves took a look at that stuff from UFO Only.
Yeah.
You might know who that is. And then I was on a show called Close Encounters Down Under in Australia last year, where they analyzed all my footage. So yeah,
I just interviewed Jason Gleaves about a month ago.
Yeah.
Cool guy. And let's see. Okay, we're about to come back in about 20 seconds here. All right, everyone, welcome back to Spaced Out Radio, the After Hours radio show. Coming back here with our guest, Andrew Radziewicz. Yeah, we're going to be getting into some great stuff. As I said, UFO experiencer, former firefighter, CE5 specialist, psychic medium. We're going to get into all that and more. If you're on social media, don't forget you can follow us at any time at Spaced Out Radio or at Spaced Out Radio Show. Please give us a follow. Consider doing that as we get back into the show. So, okay. So you're a firefighter. So is this in the same time frame as the Coast Guard or?
So I got on the fire department in 2006.
Okay.
So after the military.
Okay. So with that, and we'll leave off with the end of the sighting. So you said that you you talked to one of the crew members. Now, okay, they said that this is something that you would see. They've seen a lot of times, so it wasn't really anything to them, I guess, right? How about the captain? Yeah. Did the captain show any sort of emotion to it, or is he one of the ones that kind of said the same thing?
He was pretty low, man. Like a lot of these guys had a lot of sea time, so they probably had seen 15 years of this already. So they're like, calm down, kid, basically, but still, I'm like, what the heck? That's incredible. I couldn't forget that. And then that happened literally in 99. And then in 2001, Dr. Greer was at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C. Mm-hmm. The thing that I was amazed with is that he had military guys there that said, oh, we were involved with the cover up. So I'm like, I want to meet some of the military guys. Maybe they could give me some answers because, it's pretty crazy what happened. I thought I know they said you'll see it and a lot of people will see this, but still that always stuck with me. So finally in 2011, I got it together to fly out to California. I had the means financially because it's expensive to go see him. But I looked at it this way. When I learned something, it's like going to the firehouse. I'm a brand new firefighter. I want to go and train with somebody that's got 20, 30 years experience. I don't want to go to a guy that's got 6 months and, hey, show me what to do. So Greer already had 20 years doing CE5. So I'm like, if I'm going to learn this, I don't care what it costs. I want to go learn the right way. I don't want to try online and do it half-ass. So I flew out to the desert in California with my partner at the time, who was a New York cop. We flew out for a week and we learned the protocols. And then since the time of meeting Greer, we have had contact nonstop since then. Not every day, but any day that we go out and try to do CE5, yes, we're able to do it. It's very easy. Greer just basically said, as long as you have a childlike, a Zen mind, beginner mind, like a very green type mind, go out and put that out. And when you do that, you meditate, you'll attract that in return. And you won't have any men in black or evil aliens coming to abduct and probe you. And I haven't had anything like that happen ever. It's been all incredible. I've had great experiences since I met Greer in 2011. So I pieced that all together. I did meet a bunch of military guys. And still, since when I met Greer, I met people and did CE5 with them in California. Some of those people were from New York. So after the trip, we got together in New York. And for the next decade, we got together and made contact up in Albany, up in New York City, and had the most incredible times for free. Okay. But we all met with Greer and learned the foundation. You just need to go once. You don't have to go 50 times. You go once, learn the foundation, learn the protocols, come back, you find a local CE5 group, and then it costs nothing. You just get together on your own.
Yeah. And I hear that a lot. I talk to a lot of CE5 people and I have questions that I ask them. So I'll have some of those for you too. So going on the timeline though, okay, so 2001, and I want to point that out because you brought it up. That's one of the things that I always give Greer credit for sure. If anything else, the 2001, the Disclosure Project was so big as far as what it did for ufology and kind of moving the needle. And I always appreciate that he organized that. A lot of people say, oh, yeah, he had really good intentions then, but then they get into the C5 stuff and then that's where a lot of people have, their critique as far as that goes. And we'll kind of get there in a moment. But going after that, so you see the Disclosure Project. I don't remember when, in the moment, I wasn't aware of it. So I'm not sure how much it moved the needle in that time. But going into 2006, when you became a firefighter, you said before the break that you had some experiences as a firefighter. What type of experiences were those?
So I was a firefighter from 2006 till 2019, till I moved to Australia. I'm currently in Melbourne, Australia, but we'll get into that eventually. So basically, while I was a firefighter, though, I had this one encounter in particular. I had a couple events that had happened at work, but I'm getting into the protocols with Greer. I'm doing psychic training right around 2011, right? And then on. So around 2015, there was just one fire in particular. We went to a fire. As we're getting there, it's on, right? I'm hearing that there's people trapped. We're having water problems. It's bad, okay? And at the time, I had about 10 years on the job. So this did not happen day one. This is about 10 years into it. We're going to the fire. We're getting there. We're rolling up to the block. We're getting our stuff together. I get off the truck, and I look straight and just to the left, and I could see what looked like a, those sparklers on 4th of July, like the Chinese sparklers people wave. I saw that just to the left, and it had like this purplish haze, this outline, but I could hear my grandmother's voice say, "Andrew, do not go in there." This only happened once in my entire career, this night. So I'm getting my stuff. I'm grabbing all my stuff. Now, I'm meditating daily, okay? So I am in tune. This isn't like, out of nowhere where I might have just ignored this. I'm glad I was meditating daily and doing CE5 and doing readings, because if I wasn't, I might have just been like, what? That's crazy, bro. No, I'm like, okay, that means something, right? So we're getting to the front of the building, and I'm thinking, how am I going to tell the guys this, that, we can't go in? So we get to the front of the building, and the chief comes over, and he goes, ladder 119, you're going in the top floor. So I turn next to me, and there's a guy who's a probationary firefighter. He's got the orange patch on his head. I'll never forget it. I looked at him, and the guys are behind me, and I go, hold on a second. And the young guy goes, what? I go, just hold on. And I'm like, I can't even believe I just said that, because you don't disobey a direct order, especially at a fire. You know what I mean? The people that are trapped in there, literally 30, 40 seconds later, fire blows out of that top window on the 4th floor. Boom, out of all the windows. The floor we were just ordered to go into. Now, it just happened to be later. We looked online, we saw news reports later. Somebody happened to film this. Somebody was in the street. They had a camera. They actually have the fire blowing out of the windows. December 26th or 27th, the early morning of 2015. You could look up the fire. Unfortunately, it was horrible. 2 people passed away inside. But after, the guys are like, bro, how did you know to do that? What happened? And I'm like, my soul spoke to me. And they're like, what? I told them eventually what happened, right? And some guys are like, cool. Other guys are just like, whatever. And they just went about what they were doing, They're like, whatever, that's Raz, he's a weirdo. Meaning they knew I was into UFOs. They knew I was doing readings by that point. It was not like, okay. But most guys, just like most people don't care. They're worried about whatever else they're doing. Like, whatever, man, as long as we're still alive, right? That's all that matters.
Wow, that is insane. When you said that, I'm thinking of the movie Backdraft, right? Where it was similar to that. That's what it sounds like. Wow, that is amazing. And I want to thank you for your service, though, as a firefighter, man, because not a lot of people would go towards a fire, man. A lot of people want to get away from one. So I appreciate you doing that, man.
Thank you. And I just want to share, too, with the listeners, if people have no clue who I am, with coming forward with this, I'm a 3rd-generation firefighter. My dad got on in 1981. My uncle Jerry got on in 1956. For me to come forward and share this stuff, my dad is not like this. My uncle Jerry is definitely not like this. So to come forward and share this is a gigantic deal. I did not have to do any of this. I did not have to share any of this. I could still be working in a firehouse, doing whatever. But it was so important to get this out and share what's going on, because now it's commonplace. Anyone could share this. But this was a gigantic thing. And people always ask, were you on for 9/11? I got on after 9/11, 2006. But my dad was working down there. My dad was down there when the towers fell. Wow. And my dad's engine company was walking down the block to the World Trade Center, and a person jumped out of a window and killed a fireman that they were walking with named Danny Sir. You can look this up, Danny Sir. Oh, Danny Sir saved the lives of the engine company in my dad's firehouse. They all started reviving him, and as they were reviving him, the first tower fell. True
Wow.
story. So yeah, this is deep, man. I saw that happen, and I knew the first thought I had was, I wish I was in there helping. That's what I thought, and then I trained to become a firefighter after and got on in 2006.
Wow, man. Salute to your father too, then, as well, being there in the moment, going into once again and towards the building instead of going away from it, man. That I'll always give shout out to police officers and firefighters and military servicemen, because they do the jobs that most of us won't do. So that's awesome stuff, man. Really shout out to you for that as well. Yeah. So I know the story goes, when you talked earlier about the mediumship and how you kind of came into that. Talk about how you ended up meeting our friend Mary Rodwell and how that all tied into that as well.
So all of this is going on, right? So you're talking around like 2016, 2017 time right now, and people are starting to come forward. There's like, the New York Times article was right around this time, but people are starting to come forward, right? People are talking. I'm online and I'm just sharing my story, right? I'm trying to talk to people. A guy goes, "Hey man, why don't you come on my show? I'll interview you." This guy named Michael Harrell. I go, "Yeah, sure, man." And Mary was on his show. So I go, "All right, I'll share my story." I had never come forward prior. So this guy is interviewing me and he goes, "Andrew, you're turning blue." I go, "What?" He goes, "Turn your computer around." So I did. And as I was talking, sharing my story, some phenomena, something was going on. And it looked like I was literally turning the color blue. So he goes, "Get out of the room and come back." And this is crazy. There's something wrong. I'm like, or I don't even know how to operate this thing. It's a laptop, but I'm not that tech savvy. You know what I mean? Maybe there's something wrong with it. I don't know. So I leave, I come back, it's happening. Well, it happened for a couple hours. This guy interviews me. Mary Rodwell sees the interview. She goes, "I need to talk to you." I go, "I don't know this lady, right? I'm in New York. I'm in Brooklyn, living on the beach right near Coney Island." So she contacts me. She goes, "I'd like to do a regression on you." I go, "Okay." So she did a regression on me, and she goes, "Andrew, during the regression, you were turning blue. That same thing happened." I go, "All right, what do I do? I can't go to a doctor as a firefighter and go, 'Hey, I'm turning blue.' When I talk about my psychic and UFO experiences, they'll put me in a psych ward."
Yeah.
Like they really will. This is no joke. You can't say that stuff at work, man. That would be next level. You know what I mean? I'm turning blue. Whoa, hold on. So I'm like, "What do I do?" She goes, "You need to find an immunologist." I'm like, "What?" I don't know any immunologists. But then I'm like, wait, actually, I do know one. So I'm like, I know Dr. Gary Nolan through Diana Pasolka and some other people.
Oh,
So
wow.
I contacted Dr. Gary Nolan, needle in a haystack. Maybe he could help me. I just shared what was going on. He wrote right back to me. We Skyped. We talked a bunch of times. And he goes, "Andrew, you're not crazy." He goes, "What I think is going on is in our brain, there's another brain. We call it the antenna." He goes, "And what I think is going on is," he goes, "you're strengthening the antenna." Now, some people can strengthen it through an out-of-body experience, a near-death experience, UFO contact, like, all these things, seeing spirit. He goes, "We don't really know how it happens, but there's people we call antennas that they have a lot of contact. They attract it and vice versa. It's like the UFO phenomenon knows that you have this antenna or you're an antenna." He goes, "I think that's what's going on with you." He's like, "Does it run in your family?" I'm like, "Yeah." So he's like, "I think that, you possibly could be activating some junk DNA. We don't understand, right, the depth of what DNA can do." So I was like, okay, thank God that happened, because I was trying to get advice from people online. And it was horrendous. People were like, "You're nuts. What's wrong with you? You're a disgrace. You're an embarrassment." I'm like, I don't know what's going on, man. I'm just trying to get some answers. And people are telling me to just don't even go there. And I want to be clear. This is well known and well established researchers and people in ufology, people that I thought were well established, telling me this. They were trying to disparage me to try to get me to not share my story. I've realized now, but I had no clue. Thank God I found Gary Nolan, Mary Rodwell, and some real credible people. Ralph Blumenthal at the Times. I found some great people that were able to take care of me and guide me in the right direction.
Wow. So what did she uncover in the regression? Are you willing to
Yeah.
share?
Of course. So I didn't want to do it at first, right? I'm like, oh, I don't want to daydream. I don't want to fantasize. during the regression, number one, I recorded it. So I have a recording of the whole thing on video and audio. And as we're going, I'm like, I'm describing to Mary, I said, there's this woman, she's all blue. I feel her presence near me. And she's telling me that in a past life, she was my mom. And I'm describing her height, what she looks like, everything. And I said, there's water. I drowned in water. And this lady is telling me that she was my mom in a previous life. And she was upset that she couldn't save me. So she's trying to make contact with me now in this life. And that's part of my ancestry from Arcturus. I'm just spitting this out. I'm saying this, but this is really what's going on. But after the session, I call my mom, and my mom is not into this, okay, at all. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I just had a regression done." She's like, "What's that?" I explained it to her briefly. I said, "Oh, that's where you see things that happened in previous lives and things like that." She goes, "Oh yeah, you know what?" She goes, "Andrew, when you were like 3 or 4 years old," and I didn't tell her what happened yet. She goes, "When you were like 3 or 4, you told me," she goes, "you looked at me one day and go, 'Mom, you're my new mom.' And she goes, you said I had another life with a different mom and I drowned in the water. I went up to heaven. I met Jesus, but now I'm here and you're my new mom." She goes, "And you never said anything like that after, and we weren't going to church. We weren't reading Bibles." And she goes, "I never brought it up again because I just thought, oh, I don't even know what to make of that." This is 1983. Okay, when I said that. But I'm like, oh my God. Now I'm looking at it like, wow. So I look at the tape after when I met Mary and I recorded everything. I look at the tape after, and as I'm explaining, this blue woman, right? This woman that's blue, that's tall. There's a blue apparition standing behind me.
Wow. And you still have that video?
Yeah, I have a video of this. I got pictures of it. I could send you that stuff later. Yeah, I have it. So, hey, I know what it is to me. And it's at that moment that this blue thing is behind me that I'm sharing this. I'm like, this is unbelievable. But if that was the only thing, I'd be like, whatever. It's the, 500 other things that have happened that, I filmed or whatever that I could say, hey, there's something going on.
So let me ask you this. So in the moment of the regression, because I talked to Mary about doing the same thing, actually being regressed. And that's my goal actually for this year to do that. During a regression, because I never actually witnessed one, are you under a hypnosis? And then in that moment that you're relaying the information to Mary, are you aware of what you're saying, or are you aware after the fact once you rewatch it?
I was fully alert the whole time.
Wow.
It was, for me, whatever. I don't know if there's different methods or if there's different ways people do it. I've heard all sorts of crazy things. And that's where Gary Nolan, and when I met Gary Nolan, Gary's like, "Andrew, do you mind if I share your story with Jacques Vallée, Kit Green, all these people?" I'm like, of course, I want to get answers. You share it with whoever you know, I just want to get answers. And I remember hearing Vallée several times say, be careful with the regressions, because they've done studies that were all nonsense. So I just did the ones with Mary, but I remember everything. I remember when I was there, I wasn't in an altered state. I was fully alert. I was there. I felt like I was in control. But if you went to somebody else, I personally, I'd only let her do it to me. I did it the once, and I did it one other time. I did something similar with her, and I'll share that with you after that. Oh my God. Even more powerful than that one encounter. But that's it. I don't really want to mess around with that. I want to be careful with that.
I've heard that. And I always bring that up to, regression specialists. I say, some people say you shouldn't get regressed. Some people say it could really detrimentally affect you afterwards in a negative way. But then some people say, no, there's nothing to worry about. It'll be fine. Some people think that you may get false memories implanted during the regression as well. I don't know. I've never done it, so I can't say. You know what I mean?
It's like being a psychic, right? My wife is a mental health professional, so she sees people weekly or bi-weekly, right? Not just once. You don't just dump everything and leave. So when I read somebody, if something comes up that is really traumatic or, really heavy, I would never, ever just say, all right, see you in a year or whatever. No, you can't do that to somebody. That's unethical. At least I was trained that you don't do that. You want to make sure that somebody has resources to go to, someone to follow up with. I don't care. I always say, I don't care if it's me, my wife, or someone in the yellow pages. Do not just go home and go, oh, I'm good, I'll figure it out. No. When you bring things up, when things come up in a reading, you need to follow up. You need to process that, because it's deep, especially when traumatic things come or things that you are like, I don't even know what that means. I just got regressed. So Someone that does it will check in with you. When I got regressed by Mary, she had said to me when I met her, she's like, I want to study you. So even though I just got regressed once, I checked in with her for, it's been years now. You know what I mean? So she would never leave anyone hanging. You don't ever, if you're a medium or a professional or whatever, I always look at it, you don't leave someone hanging. Anyone comes to me for reading, I always say, hey, you could text me, follow up with me, check in with me. Don't leave that stuff hanging.
What did that, in the end, so after you had your follow-ups, like, and you've had your experiences, obviously, by that time as well with CE5, how did that, going through the process of regression and getting, completing it, how did that add to your understanding of everything? Did that do anything for you, or how'd you walk away from that?
This is crazy. So the first time I met Mary, right, and I did not know her, I said to her, I go, I don't know you, but I see you and I together, and we're talking about experiences, UFO encounters, things I've gone through together, and we're sharing this, whether this is on TV, we're getting this message out to the masses. This is in 2017, I told her this. I just met her, and I'm like, she's going to think I'm nuts saying this because I don't even know this person. Well, last year I was on a TV show called Close Encounters Down Under. I share my story, and then right during where I'm sharing this, right after me, they go to Mary Rodwell to analyze my experiences.
Wow.
They didn't tell me that. They didn't tell me. And I'm fine with that. But I go, that's crazy. Because when I met her, I go, I see you and I really getting together. I don't say that to everyone, but I go, I see us sharing this and getting this message out. We did that. That did happen. That's a fact.
That's synchronicity, man. That's exactly
100%.
what that is. Ooh, okay. So let me see then. All right. So we're going to be, because we got about a minute or so left here before we go to our hour break. Have you had any experience, with the psychic, being a psychic medium? Have you had any experience with remote viewing?
Yeah. So the first, and people can say whatever they want about Greer and what he charges. I would have paid it, no problem. Again, and everyone I went with said the same thing. He also trained you in remote viewing day one. So he trained us in remote viewing. Bang. And I've met the best remote viewers, John Vivanco, the top remote viewers, all of them, McMonagle, all of them, everyone, okay? And they all say the same thing. Andrew, if you can remote view craft, meaning I'll meditate, and I'll go, okay, 8:44. I said it in the video they showed before. I go, 8:44, 9:04. I was, a minute off or whatever. I'll remote view before I go out and say, okay, I'm sensing at 8:44 and 9:15, a craft's going to appear like to the left side, for example. And then we'll go out and see, does it happen at that minute? Well, when I first learned this, people in the group were doing that. They go, Andrew, you could see what time they're going to come before you go out at night. Ask them to show you a time. So there's times we'll get together and write out literally the minute they come. Is it 100% all the time? No, just like anything. It's not always 100%, but we've had some incredible times doing that. So they said, the remote viewers say to me, hey, if you can do that, or you're pretty accurate, like most people are not way off. If you're pretty accurate with that, that's the cream of the crop of remote viewing right there. If you're remote viewing UFOs or craft or aliens.
All right. So I want to get into more of this as well after the break. And also I know a lot of people are here because they're aware that you kind of teach people how to do some of this stuff. And that's actually awesome that you do that and kind of pass that on for others, because I've heard you say, and I believe the same thing, that it's an ability that we all have, and it's really just something that we kind of have to tap into to utilize it. So we'll get into that, guys. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with our guest, Andrew Radziewicz. I can't wait. Awesome conversation. We'll be right back.
Conversations that move the needle.
Conversations that move the needle.
You're listening to After Hours with Mr. Rob G on the only place where you can own the night. Spaced Out Radio.
Spaced Out Radio.
You've tuned your dial to the right frequency.
Okay, Andrew, we're off camera for 5 minutes, so I'll see you in a minute.
No problem.
right, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back to Spaced Out Radio after hour number 2 with me, your host, Mr. Rob G. And we're joined back with our guest, Andrew Radziewicz. We've been getting into some good stuff, guys. We're going to get ready to come back from radio in about 30 seconds here. So kick back, get ready, get your questions ready too. Make sure you put your questions in caps so we can pose those at the end of this hour. I would appreciate it. And yeah, we're going to get into it here in just a moment. 10 seconds here. Here we go. All right, everybody, welcome back to Spaced Out Radio. After hour number 2, we're in the second hour here, back with our guest, Andrew Radziewicz. Talking about some awesome stuff. If you missed anything that we've talked about, if you're just joining us, you can jump in our archives at any time. YouTube.com/at Spaced Out Radio. Like I said, as Dave says, there's a plethora of content there for you to enjoy. Make sure you guys go ahead and do that. Getting back into the show. So, yes, Andrew, we were talking about some of the things that you do on your channel, actually. Andrew has a YouTube channel, guys, which is youtube.com/at Psychic Firefighter.
Yep, Psychic Firefighter. On all social media platforms is either my name, Andrew Radziewicz, or Psychic Firefighter, pretty much. I'm the only one that I know of.
Yes. It is very easy to find, guys. And he has some great stuff over there. He conducts interviews as well. So you make sure you guys go over there and give him a sub and check out his awesome content and all the UFO videos, which we'll see some more on the next break. So I wanted to talk about the fact that you make it a thing to teach people how to tap into some of these abilities that we know that we all have, but some people just don't know how to unlock it. What are some of the things that you recommend? Because I know a lot of people here are actually wanting to know this information.
So transcendental meditation is something I was taught from Dr. Greer. Dr. Greer was taught by the Maharishi, the guy that created transcendental meditation. Silent meditation is very hard for people. A lot of people, they freak out because there's nothing going on. That is what I prefer, is total silence. But a mantra meditation or a transcendental meditation, that is excellent too. And something a little more advanced if you learn transcendental meditation or just a guided meditation or just regular meditation, something I did, which is incredible, and I do it almost daily, is I did work with the Monroe Institute in New York in 2015. And I do their gateway process, their protocols. It's very easy. It's a guided meditation. Go on YouTube, type in the gateway process or the gateway voyage experience. Just type it in and listen along. That is the fastest way to make contact with, they call them non-corporal entities. I just call them ETs, whatever you want to call them, aliens. But yeah, they call them non-corporal entities. But that literally, I put that on and bang, instantly I'm outside, craft are coming. Or if I'm inside, I could do it in my room and boom, I could have contact in my room. Incredible, Monroe Institute.
Yeah. And I think, like I say, I think it's awesome. I'm under the belief that we should always be open to, if you have some information on how others can achieve enlightenment, then you should be willing to share that information with them. Because that's how you get this global movement of humanity enlightening themselves and getting to the point to where we need to get to go where we need to go. So with that being said, this is another thing that I've talked about. I don't know if you've ever caught any of these shows, but I talk about, and I actually did a show on my own channel about this, my personal channel, about how could we put ourselves in a position to where we could potentially, I use the word force in the video, but that's not really what I mean. I really mean, how can we manifest a mass sighting, for all to see? And one of the things that I've thought about was CE5. I said, okay, we have CE5 specialists in this field who, most of them that I've talked to, say that there's 90% success rate with CE5 roughly. And Then we have channelers as well that talk about the same sort of success rate. Then we have remote viewers. Okay, so we have these tools within our community. Do you think we could put something together where we get a bunch of the best together and maybe bring in craft for everyone to see? Do you think that's a possibility?
So I know, like, on a monthly basis, there's tons of groups that are doing stuff like that to meditate within a 24-hour time frame. So depending on where you are in the world, I'm in Australia right now. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so you couldn't do it at 3 where you are, right? So whatever. But in the 24-hour time frame, once a month, doing it on the same day globally is a good way to raise that and to have that possibly happen. So as far as you mean a mothership for all to see, something like that? I don't know if something like that will happen. I'm very skeptical about that because, number one, I think a lot of people would come outside, look, go back in and keep watching Netflix. I don't think people would care, honestly, because I've been into this for so, you know what I mean? People are so conditioned into what they're doing. I don't think it would make that much of an effect. People like us, we'd love it. It'd be amazing. So there is sighting, there is contact. However, I know that the ETs are very worried about us. So to have a massive object like that appear for all to see, I think some people might just go back to what they're doing. Some people might be in a lot of fear because they're so conditioned. I do, though, think at some point that can happen. I just don't think right now. I don't think enough of us are at the point spiritually. I don't think enough people are raised yet to have something like that, to process it, and then to after, okay, what do we do now? Because if that happens, that's changing. That's life-changing. You know what I mean? I know what it was for me, my contact group. But for a massive amount of people, for them to change, I don't quite think that we're there yet. And first time I made contact in 2011 with Greer and all the people there, we asked questions like that. Is that going to happen? Are we going to have this mass sighting? And I remember the ETs communicating back and forth to us that, yes, in the future, not now, but an event like that would happen. Now, is there going to be a false flag or something like that? I don't think so. I think that's just a lot of nonsense just to get us scared, but not the real thing, not quite yet. However, I'm definitely down to keep working and keep going towards raising the vibration to get to that point. I'm all in.
Okay, and I love that answer, and I'm with you there too. You know, we definitely have to raise our frequency. And so, okay, so you said you brought up something that now we can talk about then. False flag, right? You think that's nonsense? Is that what you said, right? Because go ahead, I'll let you say first.
Yeah, I just think that, you know, I think the false flag has happened already in 1947, meaning the cover up after. So it's been happening. You know, the thing with the craft coming in the sky, this is my understanding. If there is some sort of event that could harm humanity, right? A nuclear event, something like that to eliminate us, there'll be intervention. That's not going to happen because it'll affect the cosmos. They can't let that happen. So anything like that, I don't think it would be able to go down. And I think the powers here know that because the people that I've spoken to on the other side of it, on the intel side, family that I've had in intelligence, friends in intelligence currently that are still in, they know there's good ETs out there. I think it might be a mix of whatever you think is good or bad, but they know that that nonsense wouldn't go down. That's my understanding.
Okay, and so going a little further, because I've done a show on false flag as well, and I just feel like I don't see the benefit in a government wanting to do something like that. I just don't see what the benefit is in that. It doesn't make sense. So you know, going a little further than that, then I know you stated that the experiences that you've had have been pretty much all positive, is what you said. What were some of those experiences that made you feel like that?
That they were all positive, you mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I never had an interaction with any sort of entity or being or whatever you want to consider what they are that told me to do something bizarre, like, oh, you know, on this date, there's going to be a mass landing on December 26th. I've heard that a lot from people over the years. Andrew, do you think this is going to happen? No, it's not going to happen. It never does. Okay. So, you know, nothing like that. They've never said anything like that. They've never communicated to me there was going to be a false flag. Nothing like that. If they do, believe me, I'll let everyone know. Nothing like that. So when I've heard there's one coming September 26, 2026. I don't know. I've heard this nonsense for years now from people, and it never happens because once we hear something, we have the free will, or people have the ability to change the future, right? Because we could go, oh, I'm not going to do that. Oh, I'm not going to do this. I could change what I want to do now. So I don't believe in that. I don't really think, I think that's a lot of nonsense just to keep us in fear. And what you brought up before, that's good. Why would they want to have some sort of false flag and wipe us out? They want to keep us dumbed down and enslaved. That's not going to do it if they wipe us out. We're going to be gone. What would be the point? So no, but the fear, the threat of, oh, there might be aliens here. We don't know what they are. We don't know where they're from. We need to weaponize space just in case. And you think if there was a civilization 100 years more advanced, you don't think that their technology would be light years ahead of that? Like, come on, wake up, man. They know that. So it just shows you, my parents and people that came before me, I know you want to believe in government. I know you want to trust in someone that they're going to look after you. But I think it's pretty evident when we look around that the people that we thought that were in charge or the bosses of us or our icons or our idols or our celebrities, our musicians, they're really not all they're hyped up to be. So I think me, you, the people listening here, it's up to us. We got to do what we got to do. And then those people, whatever they are, the leaders, whatever you want to call them, if the people lead, we'll force the leaders to follow us.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I had to check your temperature on that because this is exactly what I say. Everything you just said right there, I'm 100% on board with. They definitely keep us dumbed down, and they don't want us to suppress. And we all, and I've said this before too. We point to the fact that they know that we have some of these abilities that you talk about that you are teaching other people to unlock. Like remote viewing, like they had the Project Stargate. So we know they know that we have these other capabilities and they still want to go ahead and suppress us. And obviously they want to hold on to power, which is why they don't want to disclose the alien presence, because things change after that, in that moment of disclosure. So I have to ask you then with that, and this is a question I do ask a lot, is what would you be okay with catastrophic disclosure, or are you okay more with the government's controlled disclosure narrative? Which way would you prefer?
So I would say this drip disclosure, this drip drop, I call it, the little drip, they have. And I'm not for that. I think, hey, you just got to lay it out, because they're trying to control this. So when they control it, things never go as planned anyway. And there's those of us that know the truth. So they're mixing in truth with nonsense, and they've dumbed it down like everything else, that now it's normal to talk about UFOs. Now it was, you're crazy. Don't bring that up. Andrew, don't say that around family. Now my own relatives that said that are calling me, hey, what do you know about this or that? They're not ready to go to the next level, though, and do CE5. I get it. That's okay. I'm okay with that. But like any great revolution or great movement, there has to be people that come forward that lay it out, the pioneers, the people that lay it down for the next generation, And if you're doing something that's good and you're helping people and you're not harming them, you're not saying, hey, there's a doomsday coming. You're saying, hey, do you want to talk to your grandma and your aunt and uncle that passed? All right, let me come hang out with me, sit with me at night. Let's meditate together. We'll see lights in the sky. I'll give you some messages from them. Oh my God, how beautiful is that? Not they're going to come land us and probe you and abduct you. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. What I'm saying is I haven't experienced that. So I'm going to share what I know. That poking and prodding and all that nonsense, there's my labs. There's all sorts of crazy things out there that I think are 100% human, okay? And advanced civilization, what would be the point of them poking and prodding and abducting people? They would have to be advanced and have moved on, that they're past the point of hurting people. Because if they weren't, they wouldn't exist in the future. So we need to stop harming. If we want to live it as an interstellar civilization in the cosmos, we need to stop harming each other. When we stop harming each other, loving one another, start killing each other, stop doing all the wars, then they'll come. But not yet. We're not there yet. We got to do more work.
I've looked at the idea of what this world looks like after disclosure, post-disclosure. So say tomorrow, for whatever reason, ET show up, ships in the sky, or whatever method they use for disclosure. And it's a solidified fact that they're here. Okay, boom. Do you feel like the current powers that be, the way everything is set up and designed currently, do you think that that survives or exists on the other side of disclosure? Or do you think we need to probably sit down, talk about this, and kind of restructure, the way society is built currently?
So I know, like, people that have briefed Trump, people that have been involved with this for years and decades, people that work in the OSI, Air Force Office of Special Investigations. This has been going on forever. The problem, why the government's never going to reveal this, my understanding, and I do think this is pretty valid, is because they'll have to touch the abduction thing. And if they do, and it gets revealed that there are currently still projects that it's beyond government and military. There are projects out there, classified projects, that are involved with taking genuine contactees, people that are genuine good people, and then regular people out there to instill this fear in us. It's not alien, it's humans that are doing this. If that got out, no president wants that on their watch, and no one wants to touch that. So same thing, we're not there yet. And I get it. They don't want to talk about that. Whoever's doing the abductions, what you want to say, it's all aliens, whatever. No president wants to have that conversation. Okay. However, they've paid some servicemen, John Burroughs, guys that were injured by touching craft, by interacting with it. There was a study done by Gary Nolan and Kit Green. They studied the brains of soldiers that were affected by communicating with UFOs touching them. Kit Green, I know Gary and Kit Green, both of them. Kit Green, at the end, his analysis was that the contact, the craft that they interacted with, the craft were man-made, not alien. So that means, oh my God, they know that the craft out there, these soldiers that they're interacting with, touching, having these health effects from, are the man-made ones, not the ET ones. So this is how crazy this thing is. Well, I can't see anyone coming and saying, all right, now just say something landed and it was too late and it was out. Oh man, people would they would freak out. I think they'd freak out. They wouldn't know what to do. They'd be going to people that are contactees. They are already contacted people like myself and others. What do we do? How do we plan this? Because they have no clue. The reason why Congress right now is pushing this so much, I personally know this. There are several, I don't know about all, I think most of, but I know personally a few members of Congress that are contactees.
Oh, for a fact. I'd probably say more than a few. And that's the other part of it. We've talked about that as well.
100%.
There's definitely even some of those secret keepers, the ones that are really holding the keys. Some of those guys are experiencers too. And I talked to Mary about this because I said, if everyone in this world were to go through a regression therapy, if we just said, okay, let's line everyone up, let's put everyone through a regression therapy. I said, I felt like that we probably find out that majority of people have had some sort of extraterrestrial contact. You just don't remember it, right? Until you go through a regression therapy. And that's why I'm going through one myself, because I've never had instances where I'm like, okay, yeah, I think I had contact, except for my UFO sightings, which I've had recently. But, since I've had those and experienced the phenomena for myself, now I look back in my life and I'm like, whoa, okay, that moment, those are weird. Let me go ahead and regress because I think something might come out of that. And I'm just under the impression that if we could, put together a regression therapy for everyone on this planet, we might find out that it's not a minority, it's a majority of people that have had contact. So I don't know how you think about that.
Mary too, she'll say she's met tons of contactees that had gotten abducted or had negative things happen, and then they come to her, they get a regression done, and then after the regression, what they thought was negative was, oh wait, they were just trying to help me or repair me, like Travis Walton. The Fire in the Sky movie is horrible, right? He got abducted and probed, but he'll say, no, that didn't happen. That's not at all what happened. They actually healed me. Greer talked to Travis Walton too and said he got too close to the craft and got hit with something electrical or whatever. They brought him on board to help heal him, repair him, and saved his life. That's what really happened. So, but I never knew that. And Travis Walton will talk about this now. So, wow, how cool is that? How refreshing is that? Wow, there's no harm here. And they even showed it in the X-Files. They showed them, abducting people, and then after taking a mask off, and it's a human or a midget, and it's like, oh my God, they're in plain sight showing us what is going on. That's scary to think. But once again, look at what's going on, how crazy the world is, all these wild stories and people and Hollywood and all this stuff going on. This is the perfect time to reveal any of that, right? Like, why not? Anything goes now, right? Go on TikTok, anything goes. So I couldn't talk about this stuff 10 years ago like I am now, but I had a download and a vision years ago that right now, in this very moment, this was going to be, we were going to be right here in this moment, and we would be able to talk about this openly. I just saw it, and it kept happening, synchronicity after synchronicity, and that's why I will keep going down the road and grabbing whoever else comes along to go on the path together to help the next one and the next one, because people are waking up slowly but surely here.
And going back to what I asked a moment ago, so in that moment of disclosure, right? So, and you talked about how, if they came forward, they'd have to tell about the abductions and then potentially a lot of other things that will snowball off of that, because I'm sure there's a list of secrets that go along with just UFOs being here, right? So, okay, so say that's all out on the table, which we know it'll never happen, but just say they did. Say this, okay, guys, yeah, we had this, we did all that, and they lay it all out, okay? And then we're like upset, but we're like, we have to move forward. So do you think we would have a world where we would forgive the governments of the world and allow them to continue being their power structure in the future?
Yes. So what'll happen is, if this is going to sound crazy to someone that's not doing this. Now, when I was a fireman and I started getting into meditation, I would say, that's nuts, I can't do this. However, when I met Greer, he told me, he said, Andrew, you'll keep meditating, you'll keep opening up, and you keep remote viewing, you will see what other people are doing. You'll be able to get a little peek. So Greer told me that he was remote viewing people that were trying to harm him. He was given cancer. That's what he claimed. But he said he was able to remote view after and see who did it. So instead of harming them or whatever, he said he actually prayed for them to give them forgiveness and show them compassion. The exact opposite, not, eliminate them. So I'm like, wow, if somebody that was given cancer or harmed, can say, give them compassion or whatever, same thing with disclosure. That's what we're going to do. When this happens, we'll show them compassion. Okay. Because once again, if you don't know, you're only going with what you know. And I believe that some of these people in government, they just don't know the whole picture. But if they sat with someone like you or me or a group of us, because I've done this before with them, they'll go, oh my God, that's what it is. I just didn't know that, Andrew. I've been given all these briefings and it's all this crazy stuff and I'm terrified, but that makes sense what you're saying, so it's what you're exposed to, what you know. You only know what you know, right? So yeah, we got to find it in our hearts to forgive one another. And then the ETs will see that. And that's when all of this can really unfold.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah, because I feel like they don't agree with the structure that we have currently. I don't think that they agree with the few ruling over the many. And I think I talked about this last night, but I just think they don't agree with that. I think they're way past that, and they look at that. And I threw some other theories out there as well, though. And we'll talk about that because we're coming up on the break here in about 30 seconds. Guys, so we're going to be getting ready to almost wrap this thing up with Andrew tonight, and I want to make sure you guys get your questions answered. I didn't see any come in yet, but make sure you guys put them in caps in case I missed any of them, so we can get those posed as we get ready to do this. So yeah, and also I want to also, and we're going to get into as well after the break about the psychic mediumship, and then the ties to being a mortician, because I know that has to be just a wild thing to be a mortician and then to be able to speak kind of to the other side. So with that being said, guys, don't go anywhere. Make sure you stay exactly where you're at. Get your questions ready as we get ready to come back with our guest, Andrew Radziewicz. Stay right there, right here, Spaced Out Radio, the After Hours Radio Show. All right, clear. And I got a couple of your questions here that I did tag, guys. So keep them coming, and we will pose those after the break. Let's bring up some more video goodness here. Let's see if I can bring this back up on the screen here. Because I'm a receipts guy. I always say that. I'm a receipts guy. And if you have the receipts, I think bring them to the table, you know. And you have a lot of them on this channel. I was watching one earlier that blew my mind, and I can't find it anymore. So let me see. All right, can you see the page? Which one do you want to show?
Let's see. So yeah, where it says orb gliding there next door to my neighbor's building, right there. That's a goodie. That's when I lived in Coney Island. So you could see how low. That's a 7-story building. So see how low that is to the ground. That's just above the 70 feet there. That's so low to the ground. Just a solid, that should be the solid object just gliding.
Okay, these are the rooftops of the buildings.
Yep, and those are 2 orbs there. Yep, wow. Right there. Yep, okay. Those are 2 orbs. They'll move, they'll just glide across nice and slow. But that's the real thing. I filmed that in like 2017. So this is before drones everywhere. And that's New York City, which is a restricted airspace. You cannot fly anything. No drones, nothing. That's right on the beach. That is not a drone. You can't fly a drone there. It's illegal. But these things would come one after the other all night. That's 2 of them right there. Solid, no sound, no nothing. Just low to the ground. Incredible. That's a typical example. I go outside, I'll meditate, and I'll see things like that. Solid illuminated objects just gliding across the sky like that, one after another. But that's 2. That's good. You know, it's hard to find. And that building right there, that's 7 stories. So not that high up, you know.
And I know you had one, as that one comes to an end here.
Yep.
You had one that was, I think you were saying in the video that it was powering up.
Oh, yeah. Go to that. Yep.
Where was that one at? That's the one I was looking for. It might be this one. No, I don't think it is. Is this it? This might be it.
Wow, look at the size of that. That is one large illuminated object. You see how that just powered up? I'm not touching anything on my camera. I'm not increasing the size of anything in the area. Nothing. Not touching anything. Whatever that is, it's in the sky right there. That just illuminated and got extremely bright, and it was huge. From here, it looks to be the color of pink. I'm seeing a steady pulsation here from the ground.
Was that the one you're talking about?
This isn't. Oh, actually.
Down to the right, I see a blue object.
No, this isn't the one, but this is still amazing.
This object.
Yeah, that made it on TV, man. They analyzed that and everything. That's incredible.
That
Hello,
is
and welcome to the Bobby Burke offices, where we specialize.
Let me go ahead and bring it up. Yeah, no, the one I couldn't find it.
Oh, wait, you it's just powering up. You're looking for?
Yeah, it was like 2 of them, and one of them did like a weird movement, and then another one. It was a plasma one. You were saying it's a plasma.
Go to the first shorts.
Shorts.
First one on the left.
Yeah, this might be it.
Click that. See if is that it. That powers up.
It was like right over your fence.
Look at this beautiful UFO powering up right here. Nice.
No, this is good too, though.
So stunning to see. Signaling back, saying hi to us.
Right over the fence. You said.
Yeah. You said it was right over the fence.
Yeah. Let's see which one is that.
Man, I know it's oh, is this it? This is it. No,
that was the one just from before. Yep. Are you? What is that? My shorts? Yeah. What's that?
yeah. What we're gonna have to do? I'm gonna dig through it, and because we got about 30 seconds left.
Yeah,
so
it's
what
fine.
I'll do is I'll show it because we'll do a wrap up in hour 3, and with my guy Drew Banky, and I'll go ahead and show it then because I have to find it, but it was pretty amazing. It was like a plasma one that kind of was doing a zigzag thing over the fence, and then this other one was over here on the left. I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, I found it. It says plasma-like UFO activity slowed down 8x.
No, it wasn't slowed down.
Because I think I showed one, and then I showed it slowed down 8. Slowed down to an 8.
Welcome back to Spaced Out Radio after hour number 2 with our guest here, Andrew Radziewicz. Going through some good stuff. We were actually just looking at some UFO videos here on our break, and we're going to get back into the conversation. We're going to answer some of the questions you guys have, so don't worry about it. We're getting into it. Remember, you can follow us on social media, Instagram, X, at Spaced Out Radio, at Spaced Out Radio Show. As we get back into the conversation tonight, let me go ahead and address. We have a couple questions. I'll just get those out the way real quick here. So we had Woo Riders DG Derek Galloway was asking, Andrew, can people take Stephen Greer seriously when he charges so much for CE5 experience for real?
So I always say to people, you don't have to go and pay that. You can find a local group that doesn't charge and just go do it for nothing, like the one I was part of. It's optional. Greer will even say you don't have to come spend anything. You can go online. Someone said before, oh, he doesn't teach remote viewing. He has a 5-part series for free on YouTube, Introduction to Remote Viewing. It's 5 parts. It's 5 hours. Wow. I guess it's not remote viewing. Go watch that. That's incredible. He does teach remote viewing. You can look at everything he teaches for free online. You don't have to go meet him. Find a local group and don't pay anything. For me, I wanted to go to the source. I wanted to hear it from the guy's mouth. This is in 2011. This isn't right now when everyone hates him and he's, the devil. This is in 2011. So I was like, this is before the film Sirius came out. So I'm like, I want to go to the person. So, and I met him once. I spent a week in the desert. That was it. Never saw him again. And that's that. But going back, I had even better contact experiences with my group up near Albany, New York. They are an incredible group of people that for free, they host people once a month on the weekend to go up there. So you have options. It's not for everyone. He's not for everyone. He's a mixed bag. All I could say is, man, to go in that direction and change your life. If you were a medical doctor, if you believe he was, to go doing what he does, that's a giant thing to go change and to walk away from all that money and everything to go deal with this world.
And here's what I'll say. And Deb from SAC, I'll bring this up because I said this earlier. I don't hate Greer at all. I respect some of his work. And that's what I was pointing out. And here's the thing, because within ufology, there's a lot of, inner fighting within the community. And I always say, look at the good the person has done, focus on that, and then just throw the other stuff away. If you don't like the other stuff, okay, throw that away. But I can tell you that Greer did organize the Disclosure Project 1.0 at a time when the stigma was so strong, and did it in DC right there by the rest of the officials. So you got to give them that. Give them at least that, okay? Whether you believe in his CE5 or not. And then going to what Andrew just said, going to the source. Why not go to the source? If Greer was the one that invented the CE5 protocols, essentially, he kind of coined it. Then yeah, why not just if you have the opportunity to do so, why not do it? Whether how you feel about it after the fact, that's on you. But that it all makes sense to want to be there to say, hey, I was there with the guy who coined it, and then go on your own journey after that. So yeah.
And I want to be clear, in 2011, I wasn't on Facebook. I wasn't on social media. Everything was like old school. You wanted to go do something, you went and did it. There weren't like these online streaming things, oh my God, it's a different world. 2011 and even before then, no, you had to go and do it. There was no like, hey, I didn't know there were CE5 groups in 2011 online. I had no clue until I went out to meet Greer that he goes, oh yeah, we have local groups all over. I'm like, I had no idea how this worked. And then, hey, that's just my experience though. And remember, Greer did the National Press Club in May of 2001. And when he did that, Leslie Kean was there. And Leslie Kean even said, oh, he's talking about abductions and all this. Oh, no, this is too much. People aren't ready for this. So he tried to bring it all out. And then 4 months later, September 11th happened. And UFOs, goodbye. Who cares about that, right? So, hey, man, he laid it out there. So whatever.
Yeah. I always say, take the good, sift through it, get the good out of there, and then get rid of the rest. You don't have to take it all. Just take the good, take what's valuable to you, and then move on. And that's how I feel about it.
If anyone out there that's listening, if you could devise a method, CE5 or whatever you want to call it, for free that you don't charge anyone, and you could spend a week-long expedition, have everyone in your house for a week and teach them all these protocols, I'll come. Let me know when. And I don't see anyone volunteered to do that because it's a lot of work. So, hey, whatever, man. You got to make a living, I guess.
True. Yeah, and well said. Aloha Dave was asking, could Andrew briefly talk about how Greer teaches remote viewing?
Very briefly, first day you sit down in a room, he goes, okay, here's literally a box. He brought out a cardboard box. He goes, there's something in the box. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Use all of your senses. We were sitting on couches in a circle. He goes, pick up what you feel, sense, smell, taste, all your senses, whatever. I'm not telling you what's in the box. And then after he went around the room and said, all right, what are you getting? The girl next to me was drenched, soaked, literally like sweating profusely, beating, like red hot like that. Like, oh my God, I'm sitting there and I just kept seeing like color red, but that's it. I'm like, I've never done this. I don't even know what this means. He went around the room. He opened the box and it was on a piece of paper. A scenario was written and it said, a woman giving birth. So when you remote view, you use different senses, and some people are more sensitive. So you train, right? The part of your body that gets, like the girl next to me was sweating, right? So you trust that sense. Oh, I'm getting hot. I'm getting sweaty. Me, I kept seeing red. What's red mean? Oh, hospital, blood. I don't know. You're training your senses. That's very basic. And then we expanded upon that. Okay. But that's a very basic way of how to start. But look at his 5-part video, and he's got the great intro right there. For free. You don't have to pay.
Excellent explanation there, concise. And let's see, we got Erico Dion Viglione. That's what I'm going to say. Is channeling the same as CE5 initiative? Thanks.
So to me, it's different. The CE5 initiative is just human initiated contact for extraterrestrials. When people are channeling that, I interpret that more as they're channeling a entity. So say Christ or an extraterrestrial that claims he's from Zeta Reticuli. I don't do that stuff. Okay. I don't do that stuff. I don't get involved with that. That also, when I'm just saying, a lot of people I meet that do that, they get all these wild predictions that never come true. Any entity or being or whatever contact that I've had, they usually don't say much at all, if anything. So I'm not saying channeling is impossible. That can happen. Now, I know some psychics, or I said before, oh, I'm channeling. Psychics will say, I'm channeling, I'm connecting with spirit. That's different, okay? A psychic medium, okay? Medium means medium, meaning it's me. I'm in the middle between you and your loved ones. And basically, when I go into a meditative state, my brain somehow will connect with your heart. How do I know that? They did a study called Life After Life. You could look this up on HBO. They wrote a book about it with George Anderson, John Edward, Robert Hansen, the medium that trained me from Merrick, Long Island. He was part of the study at Arizona State University. They put mediums on one side and people on the other and a wall in the middle. No one could see who they were reading. They hooked wires up to them. At the end of their study, they determined that the psychic's brain was somehow connecting to the heart of the person that they were reading. Fascinating.
Definitely sounds like it. Let me get to this other question here. Perminator, I was asking, based on your interactions, what is the most significant message or understanding that extraterrestrial beings have conveyed to you about humanity's future or a place in the universe?
Wow. It's amazing. It's a great expression. And I love this. It's you're everything, yet nothing. Okay, so we're part of everything, right? We think we're this, I'm great, I'm this giant thing, right? You're this tiny speck, yet you are part of everything. We are all interconnected. So every decision you make, right, has a great impact, right? When you think, oh, I want to change the world, or I want to raise the vibration of, millions of people, the CIA, when they train people, they will even say they like people that are nervous or have anxiety, right off the bat. Why? Because they train you to focus that anxiety on your immediate environment. They know that you can't change down the block or, what Putin's going to do. You can't do that. However, in your immediate zone, your immediate area, you can control that. So if we just do that, and I like to say, just worry about your four walls, what's in your home, and how you treat others. The ripple from that is incredible. We're not going to, solve world hunger tomorrow, but if we take care of one another, the outcome from that and the ripple from that can be incredible. But we just have to we have to treat our own family nice, the people that are around us, the people we love, with the claim we care about, and then that can branch out from there.
Excellent answer. And let me ask you this. Was the phenomena or anything related to this, did it have any, help moving you all the way out there to Australia, or?
Yeah. So for some reason I felt, I got to go to Australia. Why? I'm sitting on the beach in New York and I kept getting downloads, kept seeing Australia. I'm like, I don't know anyone there except Mary Rodwell. So I call Mary, I go, Mary, I got a month off from the firehouse. I'm coming there. I don't know where, but I'm on the way. She's like, okay, come. So I pack my bags, I get on a plane and go, and I get to Mary's house, and she's like, why did you come here from Brooklyn? You know what I mean? Like, there's no regressionist between here and I go, I know I had to see you because you have something you need to tell me. I don't know what, though. That's your job. You tell me. This is what she said to me. She goes, you're making contact. Yeah, you're seeing a lot of craft. She goes, what I'm sensing is that you have this is what she said. You have hybrid children that are on these crafts. So right then I'm like, oh God, no, wait. Oh, that's like another level, right? Hybrid kids. She goes, but you have these hybrid children with a woman that you're going to meet here in 3D. So I was like, okay, interesting. 8 hours later, I leave Mary's. 8 hours later, I meet a girl in Australia, right? I meet this girl. We're sitting outside. It's nighttime. I see a craft. She's with me. We see the craft together. And I'm like, this is crazy. I'm seeing a blue craft. I go into the house where I'm staying at. I go to the other side of the house. I say, okay, if this is the girl Mary was talking about that I'm supposed to meet, that's the mother of these hybrid kids, I want you to bilocate. So the craft's on one side of the house. I wanted to relocate to the other side of the house. I'm on the other side of the house. Boom, I see it on the other side. I go, holy crap.
Wow.
I go back outside. I sit down next to this girl that I just met. And I go, you picking up anything? You get any messages or anything? She goes, yeah. She goes, they're telling me, they, meaning the occupants on the craft, they're telling me that we have kids together, hybrid kids.
Whoa.
So I'm like, bro, either Mary set me up, you know what I mean, with some crazy thing, right? Or this is next level. So all I can tell you is I am married to this person now, and I have a 5-year-old daughter, and I live in Australia. So
that's beautiful, man. I've never heard a better story than that, man. That is the most awesome. Wow. You deserve a round of applause for that. Mary Rodwell, when I talk to her again, I'm bringing this up.
And there's someone in the chat here, Ange. She knows my wife. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. Ange.
Yep.
Oh, that is awesome. That is, wow. Okay.
Yep. And so when people say, oh, I've had experiences, what good have you had? Or what's the great message? I go, I have a family. Like I can't even thank it enough. So I give back. I always come on. I'll do interviews. I'll talk. I'll help. I'll share. Anything I talk about here, I share. I put on my social platforms. People come for a private reading. I'll help them out. But I share everything online. I share anything and everything, whatever I can with anyone reaches out to me, DMs me. I help them out however I can. And if you're helping people, you're doing something good, I want you to show my daughter, right, and my kids and everyone out there that if you're doing something that's good and you're helping others, that you should be sharing, that you have nothing to be ashamed of. That's the message we need to share. And we could help one another through doing that. Wow, that's what it's all about. Doesn't matter what you do. I don't care if you're working in a funeral home. embalming people like I did, or working in a food store like I did growing up. It don't matter. If you're doing something, you're helping people, great, man. You should be proud of that.
Wow, Andrew, with the intergalactic love story, which is just so awesome here. I want to ask you a couple questions here because we didn't get to this, but the psychic mediumship and then being the mortician. So, did you have any experiences to talk about in relation to that? Because obviously, you're able to talk to the other side. You're dealing with deceased people. Anything there?
Yeah. Oh wow! I just saw somebody put I believe a donate. This has been the most awesome show. You want to read that out loud for us? Wow.
Yeah, definitely. This is Aloha Dave in Mexico. This has been the most awesome show in SOR probably ever. Many thanks to Andrew for coming on SOR, and I hope you'll come back soon. Well, I was going to ask him that Aloha Dave before we wrap up, so I may as well ask him now. Are you willing to come back? Can we get you booked again, Andrew?
Yeah, of course. And when I did work in the funeral home, right? So now I'm just doing readings full time. So I came here, I got a job in a funeral home. COVID came, and I got slammed with people messaging me for readings. So I went in full time to just doing readings, went all the way in with, filming, making contact, doing stuff on TV, sending it all out. So I've done readings, and I have had contact for 12 years, 15 years, a long time before I even went into business or did anything with this. I just used to do this in my spare time. But I said, I know now is the time. We're at that point that I need to do this. But when I worked in a funeral home, yes, I used to have contact. We would have people that would come in that had passed away. I would get messages from them, like they would describe to me how they passed, okay? And I would not read their medical paperwork, the MCOD, medical cause of death. The people I worked with, the two girls I worked with, they were both psychic who trained me. And they would say, Andrew, what are you picking up? Are you getting anything? And I would explain to them what I was picking up on. I would tell them, for example, one person told me I had a blood clot in my lower left calf, and the blood clot exploded and moved up, and that's how I died. Wow. We looked at the death certificate, and it said something different. The medical cause of death was different. However, when you open someone up to embalm them, you have to look everywhere, and we could see that the way they passed was what the soul told me, and the paperwork was off. And yes, I had heard my name called early in the morning when I walked in. So did a girl that I worked with for 20 years, another that I worked with for 30 years. One morning we came in, there was a couple in that had to go in the back room to look at some coffins. Their relative had passed. We got up, we were walking in the back room, and a man in a suit walked through the back room and then disappeared. We were like, what? We walked around the corner and looked. There was no door. So someone in a suit, it looked like they were like human, walked and went through the wall. Now, I saw this. The girl I was working with, saw this, and the family that was there, I don't know what they, I don't know exactly what they saw. We didn't say anything about it, but 4 of us saw this. So it's not just me. And like I said, I worked with mostly all women, and some were there for 20, 30 years. The stories they saw and the things they heard, unbelievable. I could write a movie about what they saw. Unreal. And they're still in the industry, so they don't want to talk about it. But yes, I heard my name. I would hear running up and down the hallway. I heard the carpet scratching because a little kid had passed away that we had taken care of. And after, I don't know, he would stick around. So you'd hear running up and down the hallway and the door jiggling. But it just is what it is. They're everywhere, though. It's not just in funeral homes. They're in homes. They're all around us. All loved ones are always around us. If we meditate, we can open up and receive them. That's how I best describe it. Or if you want to fight it and say it's not real, it's all nonsense, then you're never going to have an experience. But if you're open, hey, maybe you will have an experience. And I've met enough people now over the last 15 years to all over the world get together and talk about this, that something's definitely going off.
Definitely. And we have, I'm going to rapid fire you these questions that just came in. We had Deb from SAC asking, has Andrew met the Palladians?
Yes. So Arcturians, Palladians, oh my God. There's several different races out there that I have met. Yes. All
right. Jay Truthseeker asking, oh my gosh, I just lost it. Let me ask this question here. Next question. Sierra's asking, is there anything you have to tell me?
Oh my God. When I read people, I will read you for an hour. I don't give short messages to anybody now because it's a whole big picture here. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah.
Exactly. Let me see. J Truth Seeker. Oh, reposted J Truth Seeker. I lost your message, dude. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Ann Joanne asking, Andrew, did you see any orbs near the funeral home?
And just for the last person, if I told you something, I would have 500 DMs after this of what I have for everyone. So respectfully, doing this in 15 years, out of respect to you and your loved ones, I do it the right way. And that's how I read people always. I don't read on the spot like a dog on command. Just no offense. I'm just saying I don't ever do that with anyone. I was taught a different way. Did I see orbs near the funeral home? Yes. And then some people I worked with had come to my home at night, and we did a CE5 here. And they had never had contact before, but they saw things at work. So we went back to my home, which is only a few minutes from where I live, right here in Melbourne. And we had contact a few nights. Incredible.
All right. And I found J True Seeker. I found your question, sir. So J True Seeker asking, have you tried telepathy with Sasquatches to get in contact with ETs, etc.?
Yes. Oh, big time. My buddy Mike Bodowitz, you might have heard of him too. He wrote a great book about Sasquatch. I met him through all of this too. I had nights where I was out, and this is crazy. This is in New York, in Coney Island, and upstate New York. I was taking pictures, filming all sorts of weird things, and I had a Dogman group and Sasquatch group that I connected with that was connected to people that were in the CIA that were filming this and interacting with this. It is very real. I believe Sasquatch, Bigfoot, whatever you want to refer to him as, they call him Yowie here in Australia, but they are connected to the UFO phenomenon. A lot of people like myself too, when I've seen craft, I've also seen things that I don't even know what they are. I don't even have a name for them, but it's some sort of animal that looks like an animal or a dog, but a lot bigger. I don't even know what the word is, but yeah, I have seen them. I've interacted. I believe that they're cousins of extraterrestrials.
Yeah, and that's definitely a rabbit hole we can jump down. So maybe we'll do that next time we have you on. So we got you committed though, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome,
No problem at all.
All right, so I'll send you some information on that. And actually, if you wouldn't mind, we got like 2 minutes left. But here's the thing: as soon as we go to break, like I have to cut you and send you off. So take this time to tell everybody where they can find all your awesome content.
So if you go to my website, thepsychicfirefighter.com, everything's there. Or you go on Instagram, YouTube, I share everything there. TikTok, same thing, Psychic Firefighter, or my name, Andrew Radziewicz. I'm very easy to get a hold of. You can email me through there if you need anything at all. Or like I always say, if you've had contact, and even if you've had a negative experience, I have met people that have had negative experiences, or they also wanted to communicate with loved ones, have come to me. I've been able to help them connect with their loved ones that have passed, make sense of their UFO contact if they have no idea what the heck's going on. I have a lot of experience, many years in that field. Whoever you go to, though, I just would highly suggest that they have a lot of experience in this, because this is a very weird, strange subject. Most people come and go in this field. They do not stick around. They do not last. It gets really wacky. So whoever it is, make sure that they check out, that they have a paper trail, and you could check in with people that they've met, people that they've read. You go on my website, you'll see tons of reviews, people you could reach out to and ask, hey, what was your experience like? But whoever it is, make sure that they have references and everything, because there's a lot of scam artists out there. I had somebody recently say a psychic on TikTok told them that their mom was in danger and the stepfather was going to harm them, some crazy thing. And if that was true, I'm like, you need to call the police, man. I've never had that happen at reading before, but I didn't even know the name of the psychic. They had like a fake name and they didn't show their face. I'm like, oh my God, you poor thing. So be careful, man. Make sure you find somebody good that's reputable.
All right. And then we got about 30 seconds. You want to leave with a positive message for the world, for humanity?
Yeah, we're all in this together. So let's take care of one another. We'll figure this thing out. If the people lead, we'll force the leaders to follow. That is why the strict disclosure has even happened. But the best is yet to come. It's for our kids and then our kids' generation, though. Okay, they're the ones that, wow, It's going to be incredible for them. We're not going anywhere. We're not going to get annihilated and get wiped away. But we just have to do more work and come together.
It is crazy, Andrew. You were saying everything that I say here every night, dude. It is wild. I'm looking forward to the next conversation. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care, and we'll get back with you soon. Everybody else, we'll be right back with hour number 3 right here on Spaced Out Radio. Don't go anywhere.
Conversations that move the needle.
Conversations that move the needle.
You're listening to After Hours with Mr. Rob G on the only place where you can own the night. Spaced Out Radio.
Spaced Out Radio.
You've tuned your dial to the right frequency.
Clear. All right, Andrew, thank you so much. You have a good rest of your day, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Anytime. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Take care.
Take care.
All righty. Welcome back to Spaced Out Radio after hour number 3. Once again, thanks to our guest there, Andrew Radziewicz. I'm going to have him back, man. I knew it was going to be awesome. He's just right on point with a lot of the things that I like to say. And I know the next conversation is going to be even more awesome. We're back right now. All right, everyone, welcome back to Spaced Out Radio after hour number 3. We're already in hour number 3 here. I want to thank our guest, Andrew Radziewicz, for coming in and being awesome for hours 1 and 2. Also, we're going to be getting in some good stuff for hour 3, so don't go anywhere because we have Steve Stockton Tales Untold Missing Person Mysteries. Then we have Drew Banky coming in with the After Hours wrap-up. And then some UFO news and weird stories. We're going to get into all that stuff here on this hour here as we get ready to be graced with the presence, the voice of the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Steve Stockton. Just love the fact that he's a part of After Hours here. And here we go.
Welcome to Tales Untold and Missing Persons Mysteries on Spaced Out Radio's After Hours. My name is Steve Stockton, and I'm here to take you on a journey of mysteries, legends, and true stories. Come, join me on this strange adventure of Tales Untold and Missing Person Mysteries. Ranger Randy Morganson. In July of 1996, Ranger Randy Morganson was working as a backcountry ranger at Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Parks. He was the most ranger in the High Sierras, having been a backwoods ranger for 28 years at that time. On this particular day, July 21st, 1996, Randy loaded his pack and went on his routine and regular patrol of his station. He was 64 years old and in almost perfect health. Some of his co-workers even thought he was invincible and impervious to the perils that came with the job. It was just about daybreak when he headed out to patrol near Bench Lake, taking nothing with him but an old ski pole to use as a hiking stick. He was never seen or heard from again. Now, as is often the case in these strange disappearances, a sudden rain started to fall, blew up out of nowhere, got rid of any footprints or other evidence as to where Ranger Randy could have possibly gone or what could have happened to him. Over the following days, there was plenty of frustration as dogs followed scents that seemed to abruptly stop, and random pieces of gear were found in several different locations, but none could be positively linked to Randy. A FLIR helicopter equipped with an infrared camera picked up a campfire burning on a hillside, but with no one in sight tending it. Eventually, the search was called off with no sign of Randy or a body. Then, a letter arrived at Randy and Judy Morganson's home in Sedona, Arizona, from Randy. Judy opened the letter and noted it had been postmarked 2 days after his apparent disappearance. Since there is no postal service in the national park, Judy didn't understand just how Randy could have mailed the letter. That added to the suspicions that he had simply left the area to start a new life away from the National Park Service. 13 days after Randy had been reported missing in early August 1996, the official search, which included helicopters, dog teams, and dozens upon dozens of volunteers, was called off. Not a single trace of Randy had been found, not even a footprint. Finally, in July 2001, 5 years after the search was called off for Randy, a 19-year-old member of a California Conservation Corps trail building crew ventured off trail and found some remains. The worker found some new evidence near a creek and a gorge in the Widow Peak drainage, very near the outermost borders of the search area, below the pools of a waterfall. Rangers were called in to search and soon discovered a tattered shirt with Morganson's badge attached. Then a backpack with a buckle fastened, and a boot. On close examination of the single boot, which was half submerged in water, it had something white protruding from it, a leg bone. The boot and pack seemed to match the description of gear that Randy reportedly had been using that day. Teams for both investigation and recovery were flown in, and shortly after, a functioning park-issue radio was discovered resting on top of the falls, not at the bottom like the other evidence. It was turned to the on position. This discovery confused matters even more. Although these remains seemed to confirm Randy had been in the mountains the whole time, investigators weren't certain whether this is where Randy had died. Rangers had remembered already searching this gorge and crossing at the exact spot where the radio was found. Retired Sierra Subdistrict Ranger Alden Nash believes Morganson had fallen through a snow bridge and broken his leg, and his body had simply been hidden beneath ice throughout the search. Weirdly, during the rescue attempt in 1996, Randy's wife Judy had dreamed of a dead man floating in the lake. I don't think it was an accident, says Eric Blem, author of The Last Season, a book about the disappearance of Randy Morganson, which is well worth a read, by the way. Blem says Randy may have wanted to appear to have died on the job just to make sure Judy, who was still his wife at the time, got the benefit from the government, a policy not honored in the case of taking one's own life. If he wanted to throw off the dogs or sucker people into believing something happened, he did a great job, Blem says. After so many years, with the bones gnawed, there's no way to say exactly what happened. The National Park Service named a peak in memory of Randy. The unofficial Mount Morganson, so named in his memory, is the first peak west of Mount Russell, a half a mile away, and just north of Mount Whitney. Mount Morganson should be distinguished from the west peak of Mount Russell, the higher of the Russell's twin summits, which are only separated by a tenth of a mile. A summit registered with the name Mount Randy Morganson, 13,920 feet, was taken to the top by two park veterans in 2007. A peak bagger named Richard Petrowski found the original register missing when he climbed Mount Morganson on June 20th, 2008. He placed a temporary one that day and made a huge effort to return to the summit 1 week later with a weatherproof ammo can and a replacement journal. Barely a handful of people, if any, signed it each year. Number 3, Ranger Brendan Unit. Larimer County, Colorado Department of Natural Resources Ranger Brendan Unit, 27 years old, went missing while out searching at night for a missing boater. While there had been nothing reported about the results of the initial missing person who Brendan was looking for, it seems a sudden high wind event caused him to capsize in his boat and die of what was officially said to be freshwater drowning. Now, folks, I'm no expert, but what I do know about is the strange weather events and causes of death that just don't fit the season or the profession the person in question was in. And I'm not the only one either. Many people are wondering how professional outdoorsmen could capsize and drown. And what about this so-called strange high wind event? Why does there always seem to be a sudden change in the weather during one of these missing persons encounters? These are the things many of us in this community wonder about after seeing case after case after case. The same thing over and over again, but never with any definitive or even sensible answers. Number 4, Ranger Jeff Christensen. In July of 2005, another seasonal park ranger died under mysterious circumstances in the same county Brendan Unit passed away in as well. Jeff Christensen was conducting a routine backcountry patrol of the Lake Lawn Trailhead when he allegedly lost his footing and fell from Mummy's Range in Rocky Mountain National Park in Larimer County, Colorado. The search for the initially missing ranger lasted a little over a week, and he was found on August 6, 2005 by a hiker. The official cause of death was a left temporal skull fracture that led to a subdural hematoma. The ranger has been said to have lost his footing and died of a tragic accidental fall. He'd only been on the job for 4 years and was survived by his parents. Now, is it possible for someone with at least 4 years' experience to die of something so simple? Could it be that there's something out there in our national parks and forests hunting these rangers? Perhaps they or it wants to take out the people who are going to be able to help and possibly even save the other people this mysterious predator or predators are trying to take out. We must keep searching for the truth. We owe it to all the people who die of something that is seemingly simple and accidental, but could very well be something much more sinister. Number 5, Ranger Paul Fugate. Here is yet another tragic account of a park ranger who vanished mysteriously while doing his job, never to be seen or heard from again. Now, Paul was known as a rebel and even anti-establishment to a point. He stayed for weeks at a time in a small cobblestone cabin on site at the monument. He was a naturalist who did small tasks such as answering the visitors' questions and putting together trail guides. Originally, Paul worked at the Navajo Monument in Arizona, but was transferred soon after being disciplined by one of his bosses about his laziness and slovenly appearance. Apparently, this supervisor admitted in a later report that he was annoyed he couldn't technically fire Paul, and also that he hated the hippies coming in to work for the monument. Paul was charged with stealing government equipment when he took some hay home for his wife's horse. He was in an open relationship with his wife and sleeping with multiple women who were co-workers. While all of this may seem irrelevant, we must look at every aspect we can of a person's life when they go missing under such strange circumstances, especially when people in their profession are seemingly doing so at an alarming rate, and have been for a while. Before he left his post that fateful day, he left instructions with the only other staff member there that if he wasn't back by a certain time, for them to close up without him. He then walked out and down towards the area of land the park was about to acquire, one which was shrouded in problems as there had been much conflict about the 400-acre purchase with the local Apache tribe. Again, he was never seen or heard from, and no body has ever been found. Well, there you have it. What do you make of these strange disappearances of rangers who work and in some cases literally live in these parks? If they can go missing and leave no trace, what does that hold for the rest of us? Frightening, isn't it? I look forward to your thoughts in the comment section. Meanwhile, until we meet again, I'm Steve Stockton, and I'll talk to you next time.
Steve Stockton. Bravo, Steve Stockton tells Untold Missing Person Mysteries. Once again, so glad to have him as a part of the After Hour show. And as I always say, Steve Stockton could read you the ingredients to a German chocolate cake and make it sound suspenseful. Awesome stuff, Steve Stockton. Once again, shout out to Missing Persons Mysteries. We love it. And we're going to go ahead and get ready to jump into the After Hours wrap up here with none other than our guy, Drew Benke. Drew Benke joining us with the After Hours wrap up. Drew, how are you doing?
How are you? I'm doing great.
Good
Busy as always.
Good stuff. Man, another awesome show tonight, man. Another awesome show. Killing it on the After Hours here, must say. Another one for the books. Another one for the awesome collection here at Spaced Out Radio, the After Hours radio show. And we will be having Andrew back because, yeah, there's a lot more to talk about there. What did you think about the conversation tonight? Was there anything that stood out to you?
First and foremost, I want to give them a shout out for, the service, military service, firefighter service. Of course, we all appreciate that always. And coming from, veteran to veteran. So thank you, Andrew, if you're still listening, for your service. And that service thing, you see a lot of veterans being called to their true service, and like I've said before in my own personal interviews, I can relate very, very much so, because I feel that, when we were doing our military service or police service, like I was, he was a firefighter, but that's all like service based, and wanting to like help someone. He even said, like, when 9/11 happened, he wanted to be down there, helping people. That's where he was called to he was called to be at. And I think that calling, is a deeper calling. And there's a lot of veterans being called to service, being called to lead ceremonies with plant medicine, or doing the work that Andrew's doing, So I think the call to service is something that's in all of us, but like the people that have raised their hand for the military or police work or firefighter, whatever it be, that service work. I think it's when we're going through that phase, I think it's a calling that we're misconstruing, or we're not giving it full credit. And then when we do have that awakening, we find out what that service calling is that's deep in our soul.
That's awesome stuff to hear there, Drew. Glad to get that perspective from you on it, being that you are a veteran and you've served. So yeah, that's awesome stuff coming from you there. And once again, it's there's a lot of people that, just like I said, he runs into a building with fire. Most people, everyone else runs away from the building. Same thing with the military and police force as well. They run into the trouble, and everyone else runs away from it. And you always have to show gratitude and thanks for that. Yeah. Because we live in a great nation here in the United States. Even though our governments withhold secrets from us, it's not really them. It's our military and the police forces and fire departments. Those are the real heroes and the ones who kind of represent for the people. And it's a beautiful thing. And I think you're right on there. It's awesome to see you go from that, from literally providing a service for the people, and then literally turning into, getting into this here, what we're in now, and literally doing the same thing, providing service for the people, because we are technically in a battle for, the future of humanity. And we're all soldiers in this battle that we're in right now. So, and then to bring that, it's just an awesome kind of contrast to kind of look at, man. So
yeah, no, I think it's beautiful. He's helping a lot of people now, and I would go far to say is I want to thank him for his service now. I think if he's listening or catches this, he's going to appreciate that much more than the other. Thank you for your service, because he's doing his real purpose now. He knows that, deep down. And, it's amazing story. There's, a lot of twists and turns in it, the being a mortician and everything. That's a crazy thing to add into the whole mix.
Yes.
But yeah, people out there doing the work, making contact and helping other people make contact and helping their minds. Ultimately, making contact is about expanding your consciousness. It's not about seeing the lights or this, that, and the other. It's about seeing that and seeing proof firsthand, not on CNN or CBS or not on a TV. Seeing actual proof face to face that there is something going on that's unexplainable. That's the first question that gets popped up, and that expands your consciousness. Having a sighting expands your consciousness, and he's doing the work. And helping others come to that realization, and ultimately helping our whole species expand consciously. And he's doing his part in that. So thank you.
And you are too. And so am I. And so are a lot of other people that we know that are literally currently going to battle on behalf of humanity, like literally in this moment that we're in. It's like a spiritual battle almost, really. And it's like, we may not get any awards or any medals or anything in this field for this, but I think the gratification comes when you have people in the chat that appreciate what it is that we do. And I've seen that, you know what I mean? I've seen the appreciation that people have for us being able to get up here and kind of have these conversations and hash this stuff out and really try to move this needle. And that's where I get my that's where I get the satisfaction for what it is that we do every time we do it. And it just gets me. There's never a time where I'm not ready to get in here and get it on. And I know you're the same way. And this is why it's a great combination and a great team that we have here. And then when we get a guest that aligns with all of those same things, and that's another thing right there, because I always talk about, you know, especially being a host, you kind of always have to recalibrate yourself, make sure you're not leaning too far to either side, that you still have this open mindset, even though you talk to a lot of people that if you were to be able, you know, if you didn't recalibrate, you could be pulled over to just being a believer. And I think that doesn't serve the purpose for the people. And it always just validates and kind of makes me feel good when we get a guest like that. And then you hear what he says, and it's like, I already align with that. Like, I align with, you're saying the same thing. You're saying the right things. And that lets me know, okay, I'm doing the right thing, or my thought process is on the right path. And then same thing when I talk to you. We talk and we align with things that we never knew we aligned with. And it's like, okay, that's the recalibration. And we know that we're doing or saying the right things to kind of try to move this thing forward, man. And it's,
of course,
gratification.
and you know, us being behind the mic and everything, it would be a disservice not to bring up there has been some things that's come up with Greer and some things that are questionable. But the overall question, does that take away from the actual protocol? Like, you know, and no, it doesn't. But has there things been come up in some of his CE5 events? Yes. Has he been debunked on a few things? Yes. But it doesn't take away from the conscious connection to crafts and things like that. You know, I'm not attacking the man or anything. All I'm saying is there's proof out there that some of the shit, some of the stuff is not exactly how it appears. And that's all I'm saying. We do have to mention that, you know, the guy is not squeaky clean. I don't think any of us are, but you know, but that doesn't take away from the actual protocols of CE5. I myself have been to a Greer event in 2019 at Gaia, where it was a 3-day workshop and everything, and it culminated with the CE5 event. And we did have craft overhead that did appear at the end of that. So I do like Greer's take on you know, consciousness and all that, but yeah, we do have to mention the other side too.
And here's the thing, no one's perfect. For one, like you said, we all have skeletons in our closet, and I'm not going to hold anything against you or the next person for some, you know, something that you may have done in your past, unless it's something that's just across the line, obviously, which we know what that would be. But you know, I always say, you know, and this is one of the problems in our community, is that a lot of people, like I was talking to Andrew about, it's a lot of infighting, a lot of finger pointing, a lot of wanting to pick apart a person's personal situation. And then even on the CE5 stuff, okay, so you don't get that, you think he fakes it all. Okay, you're okay to have that opinion, but can we look at the fact that he put together the Disclosure Project 23 years ago, and really got a group of experiencers together from the military, from all sorts of branches, from all over the world, got them together to tell their stories on a national stage. You know, who else did that? No one else did that. It didn't happen again until Bassett put together the Citizens Hearing for Disclosure, who I really want to talk to him too, because I appreciate that as well. I don't care what else Stephen Bassett was into or what he's done. He did that, and that was the thing that helped the movement and move the needle. And that's kind of what you got to focus on with anything, right? You got to take the good, sift out the bad, and just take away the things that help and matter, and quit focusing on the rest of the stuff, man. Greer can never do another thing in the rest of his life for disclosure, and I would still be grateful for what he had already done. He already left that mark. That's in the history of ufology. As we get ready to go to break here, we got about 15 seconds, and we're going to be coming back. We're hot tonight. We're really, really hot tonight right here on the After Hours Radio Show. We got it going. I'm really feeling it. So I don't want you guys to go anywhere because we still have more conversation and some UFO weird news coming right after this break. Stay tuned. Don't move a muscle. If you do, just make sure you're back after the break. Right here on Spaced Out Radio, the After Hours Radio Show. Alrighty, McTidy. Let me go ahead and see if I could find the video that I watched on Andrew's channel. I wanted to show it because it was pretty. The ones we showed already were awesome, but there was one in particular. He had found it too. He told me the title, so I'm gonna look for it. Hopefully, I can find it for the break is up. But it is pretty good.
I've been working out to do an interview on the Digital Social Hour with Sean Kelly in Las Vegas, and confirm that. And don't have the dates yet, but I confirmed that I will be going on that this afternoon. So it's really exciting. He was number one podcast on Apple.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Keep on getting that message out there, man. Congrats, skis.
Yeah, I'm excited.
You know I'm going to be watching, buddy. That's a fact.
Going.
That is a fact.
Who's talking about Chief Golden Light Eagle?
Okay, that's not it. And I'm just, if I can't find it, I'm just going to grab anything here because he has a bunch of them on here.
Hey, what's going on, Jim? How are you?
Orbs gliding. Jim White's out there?
Yeah, he's talking about Chief Golden Light Eagle. Caught my eye in the chat.
Jim, shout out to Jim White from the Santee Dakota Nation. Love it. Awesome dude.
Yeah, me and Laura Eisenhower did a sweat lodge two years ago at a Star Knowledge conference out there. And it was Chief's Golden Light Eagles at his Sundance grounds on the res. Yeah, it was in November. It was snowing. It was cold. Man, coming out of the sweat lodge, it was cold.
Okay. Let me see. UFO powering up. I showed that one. Appears to be yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna grab some. It was an awesome one too. Oh my gosh. It was an awesome one. Let me go here to shorts. Okay, we'll just look at this one here.
UFO.
All right, let's run this one back.
Okay. When I see a UFO in the sky, I will ask it to power up, and all of a sudden, boom, just like that, it will fully illuminate to acknowledge that it is a genuine UFO.
I'm always amazed by the power-up stuff. You know, when they point the lasers and then you get that response, that is to me epic. All right, let's check.
Some of those times I gotta be the devil's advocate. Some of those times,
red circle and yellow circle, there are two UFOs right here in the sky, just in the center, and you will see something incredible. As these craft cross, you will see a change in direction of one of the crafts. Boom. Just when that happens, you will see this amazing change of direction. Now, I always ask when I make CE5 contact, I'll ask a UFO to do something odd, unique, different, to illuminate, to change direction, something to eliminate the possibility that it's space junk, a drone, or something explainable. This is the real deal CE5 contacts. Check out this incredible UFO footage here with
Yeah.
Nice.
We'll get into more of that stuff there. Awesome stuff. Go over to his YouTube page and definitely check. He has a bunch of videos there. You guys have to go check it out. YouTube.com/@ Psychic Firefighter. You got to go check him out. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Jim White. That's why you need to come into your whippy ceremony. LOL. I have nice wood stove. Yeah, I saw him post the other day. He was like, I'm gonna have a sweat lodge. I'm just gonna have a sweat. I'm like, man, okay. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's not sweat lodges are, for people who do them, lots of times they do them weekly or just pop up as needed, and James, James, my brother, he's in service just like the rest of us, and he's doing his part. People pop up and need a sweat lodge for some reason. He doesn't hesitate, and that's why he's in my circle.
Coming back right now on Spaced Out Radio After Hour 2.5. Meet your host, Mr. Rob G, here with Drew Banky with the After Hours wrap up. We're on the back half of the show. We only have about maybe 10 minutes with Drew here as we get back into conversation, and then we're going to bring you some UFO weird news. So make sure you guys don't go anywhere. It's been a fantastic show. If you missed any of it, jump in the archive, youtube.com/@ Spaced Out Radio. It went down tonight, and we're going to go ahead and get back into this conversation here. So, yeah, man, CE5. So, yeah, I threw that out there because, I think it's pretty amazing, right, to be able to get those craft to respond. And I'm just looking at it like, that to me is obviously direct contact. That's like, if there are beings inside of those craft and there's a human being signaling, that's direct contact, right? So it's like, that's essentially disclosure. And I hope and I wish, that we could come together and try to kind of facilitate an event where the world gets to see this. You know what I mean? I know small groups get together and do this. I know that. Yeah. There's a lot of sky watching CE5 groups, and they do have sightings themselves. I don't know if they film them or not. I don't know how that goes, the rules on that, but I would want to do it. And I've talked to so many people that said it can be done. So it's like, okay, if it can be done, then hey, let's do it. Why not do it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's about timing. The universe is going to let it happen when it's time to happen. But there's been a lot of people that's been talking about, psychics and people at channel, this and that, including myself, that has shared their dreams and visions or whatnot, that a mass contact event has been seen by many, in their dream space, visionary space or whatever. So I think it's only a matter of time before it manifests in the physical. I mean, yeah, I've seen it personally, and I thought I was, when it happens to you, you think you're the only one. Then come to find out it has happened to a lot of people. That's happened to me a lot, and it doesn't discourage me. All it does is just give it confirmation. Like that. That what I'm seeing, there's more to it than just that moment. There's some context to it that we yet to see unfold.
Yeah. I have some plans, man. I've been doing a lot of thinking, and I think what I have to do is just like we talked about. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. What do you call that? U.F.O ceremonies. I'm gonna get all those things out of my system, so I can see where it takes me, where it moves me to. But while I'm on that path and the regression and all that stuff involved with that, but I want to do something to kind of bridge the gap between those on the outside of ufology, just like we talked about last night when I was talking about being able to kind of speak in a language that makes sense to everyone, and not just our group here that we talk to. And I've been putting some things together, and I don't want to say it because then somebody's going to take the idea and try to run with it and say it was theirs. But I have some things that I'm thinking about that could kind of maybe bridge those gaps or just make it kind of help facilitate a situation where at least it's open, the conversation is open to everyone on Earth and not just people within ufology. I have a couple things that I'm thinking about.
I can't wait to hear more about it, man.
Yeah,
it's
talking about it behind the scenes though, but
yeah, for sure. But getting the message out there, like I was telling you last night, like we're doing the best we can, and even just thinking about trying to use different verbiage to reach people that may not know about this. That just goes to show right there, like you are taking the steps, you are thinking about the collective, and you're really thinking about your role in this, and at this point, you're heading up to after hours,
Yeah. And I think people appreciate what it is that we do, and that's why I say the gratitude. I'm always thankful that the people come here to see the show and understand that it's more than a show. It's the conversation that we have. It's not the after hours. It's really the what you get out of the conversations that we have, and that's why they have to be those type of conversations that get people out there thinking, because then they come up with ideas, then they come up with ways that maybe we could, get this thing moved. And that's kind of the purpose of it. It's kind of like, let's help stimulate your mind and you come up with ideas to kind of help move the needle. I'm just here to have the conversation and do what I can. I'm not here to run the show, or I'm not here to be the one in charge or anything of that nature. I'm just here to help facilitate, jog your brain to get the conversation going. And I'm really hoping, and some people have said this, so I'm just hoping that that's kind of the way that we go.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're doing good, and the guests just keep getting better and better, and the guests don't get paid anything, to come on the show. They're volunteering their time, they're staying up late, and to come on and just share. And we need to have an open mind, what people are talking about. And I think for the most part, the chat is, and then everyone involved is, can I be in charge? Please, someone else, someone be in charge, other than me or anything. But yeah, it's I think we're doing great, man. And I think the chat does a great job. Who knows who sees the videos afterwards? We have a base group of people that are pretty much here on the weekends and stuff, and the interactions are always great, the questions are always great. So I'm excited to see where this is heading in the weeks and months ahead.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that I talk about, and that's why I don't care what channel you are on or where you're having this conversation at. If it's getting 5 views, if it's getting 5,000 views, if it's getting 50,000 views, the point is to have that conversation, have it there, because I feel like, and it's almost inevitable, that at some point here in the future, there's going to be an influx of people who, once they come to a realization, are going to want to find out more and more and more. And then that's when they'll be able to come and tap into some of these conversations that we've had, and will kind of help them move along. Because I know when I first got into this, or when I had the revelation that this was a thing, I dove right in and I watched everything that I could watch, and I brought myself up to speed on everything, and I brought myself in and in and in. And there was a lot of things that kind of helped me out, but it was still the real conversations weren't being had. It was just more of, this is what it is. They're up there. Here's a historical fact about this, which is valuable. But there weren't any conversations that I felt like were kind of moving the conversation forward, right? Which is the reason why I was like, okay, well, let's step out and let's start doing this, because nobody else seems to be wanting to have that type of conversation. You know what I mean? So, and that does not to say anything about anybody out there that is doing a show, or, maybe they just haven't found that the way to do it yet, or maybe, it takes getting a realization to understand, okay, yeah, we need to talk about what happens next. And that's why I say I hope people copy the format, if anything, because then that's more people out there that are really getting the word out. We talked to I'll shout out Polly Rotterman, right? Because Polly came on my show the other day, and she did really awesome. And she's one of those out there, amongst others, that have a real intent on getting the message out there and really speaking the truth and being genuine in the intent. And we just need a lot more of that out there in the community. So just glad I could be a part of making that happen. I don't know how you feel about that, Drew, but we got about 3 minutes here if you want to go ahead and get some stuff out there.
No, man, it's just been a great weekend. There's great shows yesterday, and yeah, looking forward to next week.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we have a lot of action-packed stuff. Actually, let me see if I could bring up a list. I know I have a list here, so let me see. Let me check my calendar here for those who may be wondering. I know we got our good friend Jim Goodall coming up soon.
Ooh, it's going to be a good one.
Awesome. We have next week here on the After Hours. Let's see. We got Ed Odell, who I was on his show over at the Rift Nation. Ed Odell and Rhonda are going to be coming in on Saturday. And then we have Jim Goodall on Sunday. Week after that, we're going to bring our friend Eugene Braxton back, man, because we need to talk some more OBE and near-death experience, things of that nature. We got Ben Moss, who's going to come in talking about the Socorro UFO incident. We have Reed Summers, who we just had about a month ago with the Alien Intent video that everyone loved. He'll be back as well. We got a list of things coming up you guys aren't going to want to miss here at the After Hours. So make sure you hit your notification bell and come to the show every Saturday and Sunday night, 8 p.m. Pacific. We do this thing right here, and we would love to have you here to do it. Drew Banky, thanks for coming on in, man. I'm going to go ahead and get into the UFO news. Have a great rest of your night, buddy. I'll be talking to you soon. Take care.
Night, everybody. I'm going to go cuddle with my babies later.
All right, man. Be good. Later. All right, guys. That was Drew Banky with the After Hours wrap up. We're going to move the show along here, as we only have about a little less than 10 minutes left. We're going to get into some UFO news. Got a few stories that we could take a look at. So here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
All right, the UFO and weird news of the week. We're going to go ahead and get into as many of these stories as we can as we get ready to wrap up the show. First story that we have here is about a girl who essentially stated that she was reincarnated. A little young girl. She was, I think, only 2 years old, she says here. We'll read the story. One moment gave people all the proof they need that a girl was reincarnated in a resurfaced video. Nicola Weeder started to give examples of her old life when she was just 2 years old. The chilling case of Nicola Weeder is making people believe that the child's reincarnation story is legit. Born in Yorkshire, is a little girl who was just 2 years old when she told her mom she lived another life. It wasn't just a flash in the pan either, as Nicola's recollection of her old life started to become very clear and detailed. Aged 5, Nicola could even remember the name of her family and where she lived. Though Nicola struggled to recall her own previous Christian name, she remembered that her father was called Thomas Benson. Mommy, why am I not a boy like I used to be? My other mommy used to be called Mrs. Benson, and I was her little boy, and I played with Muff, Nicole would tell her mom, Kathleen. Muff was the nickname of the 5-year-old son of Mr. and Mrs. Benson, who once lived in Haworth in Yorkshire. With the help of author Mary Harrison, who located church registry archives, they found proof of the family's existence. Records indicated that on the 25th of July, 1875, John Henry Benson was born to Mr. and Mrs. Thomas Benson, a rail worker. John, a 5-year-old boy, died when he was hit by a train almost 100 years ago. Kathleen's suspicions rose further after her daughter had a panic attack while watching a train scene from a film. The mom told BBC documentary 40 Minutes, quote, "She went on and on about this for ages, and then we were watching a film one night. Nicole was still up, called The October Man, and at the end of it, John Mills was debating whether to throw himself under this train or not. Quote, as it were getting nearer to him, track were coming nearer, train were coming nearer, she just stood up, started waving her arms around, and gasped for breath. She added, so we turned it off. In 5 or 10 minutes, she was all right because she knew that if he threw himself under that train, what was going to happen. Nicola and her family went and visited the spot where she recalled the moment she died as John all those years ago. She said, I were living over there and I just got my foot stuck down there and this train were coming and it knocked me over. Viewers think the long sign Nicola gave after recounting her story at the train tracks was enough to convince them that she was telling the truth. That deep sigh she gives out at the end of the video, followed by that world-weary look of disappointment, regret, was all the proof I needed to see, one person wrote. Interesting and very credible. One of the more convincing stories I have ever seen a second penned. The fatal accident happened in 1875, and she was reborn about 1975, so she had been in the world of spirit for 100 years before she was reborn, not as a boy, but as a girl. That's quite some time between lifetimes, a third added. Pretty amazing. And we talked earlier with our guest a little bit about past life and having a recollection of, having a past life. So, we know that there's something to the spirit world. We know there's another realm there. And past life, there's more and more evidence of it. People, there's been kids in many cases who have come forward and said things like that. So there might be something to it. That's all I'm saying. There might be something to it. So let's see if we can get in another one here. We have a scientist who claims people are all characters living in simulation and says proof has been hidden in plain sight. The Bible and computer simulation theory is an unexpected crossover. A scientist is convinced we're living in a simulation and claims he has the evidence to back it up. The simulation theory is one that has been highly explored in popular culture. Polarized by the Wachowskis' 1999 film, The Matrix, the simulation theory also pops up in TV and movie franchises such as Westworld, The Truman Show, and more recently, Free Guy, which have all explored the idea of what would happen if everyone in the simulation discovered the truth about their lives. However, for one scientist, the idea that we're all living in a simulation is less of an interesting thought experiment and instead a very real thing. As an associate professor in physics at the University of Portsmouth, Dr. Melvin Vopson fills his hours by researching experimental and theoretical studies of physics, and he very much believes that we are living in a simulation, pointing to the Bible as evidence for his claims. The Bible itself tells us that we are in a simulation, and it also tells us who is doing it, Vopson said in an interview with Mail Online. It is done by an AI, an artificial intelligence. Now, I know what you're thinking. A book as old as the Bible and the simulation theory are hardly something which go hand in hand. Pointing to the Gospel of John and the New Testament, Vopson uses the opening passage, quote, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God," to make his argument. The verse already holds specific meanings for Christians, as it is said that the Word, which is translated from the Greek word logos, is synonymous with Jesus Christ. But for Vopson, the usage of word isn't related to the promised son, but instead advanced technology such as computer code. The professor went on to add that God is also a part of the computer simulation rather than a separate entity. The code running the simulation is not separate from the divine, but rather an integral part of it, perhaps an AI, he continued. It implies a creator who brought the simulated universe into existence through the word, i.e. the code. In short, the universe is a computer simulation with both God and the Bible being an AI being written into the program. This idea may sound completely bonkers or even offensive to some, but Vopson believes this argument aligns with the trajectory of modern society. Quote, "What is truly remarkable is that the interpretation given is fully aligned to the events of our times, the emergence of AI, and also it is exactly what the Matrix was projecting," he added, clarifying that the argument isn't something he necessarily believes in. What this means for the future of humanity is anyone's guess, but Vopson's arguments certainly leave you with plenty to think about. That is a wow moment right there. Never thought about that. How many people out there have even considered that? That is pretty insane to think that people have kicked around the idea of simulation theory, that this is a simulation, but never really going into detail as far as what does that mean? Like, what do you mean? Okay, this is a simulation. All of this, none of this is real. Okay, I get that. But no one is actually taking it a step further. And I think that story right there kind of does that for me. It kind of at least paints a picture of, you know, how extensive the simulation could be. If it was the creator being the person who wrote the code, wow. I think that's pretty awesome. A pretty awesome way to look at things. Does it mean it's true? No, doesn't mean it's true. But it's definitely something to think about, right? And that's kind of what we do here. And, you know, we just want to make sure that you're thinking about it. And I think that story does that. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get ready to wrap this show up. Another awesome show here at the After Hours Radio Show. So glad to have our guest tonight, Andrew Radziewicz. Also, Drew Banke as well for the After Hours wrap up. Steve Stockton with Missing Persons, Mysteries, action-packed show. If you missed any of it, go in the archive, check it out. We also want to thank, though, you. We want to thank our contributors. We want to thank that guy right there, Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal, the man who rocks us out each and every weekend, as he reminds us to never say never again, because yes, the phenomena is real and anything and everything is possible. So if you love the show tonight, go ahead, show some love by throwing your horns up. Also, we want to thank all our viewers online and listeners on terrestrial radio and digital platforms, when and wherever in the world you may be listening from. We appreciate you for tuning your frequency to Spaced Out Radio, where we do what we do best. And what's that, you ask? We own the night. Remember, this show is copyright Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. It's been a pleasure serving you once again as your host. I'm Mr. Rob G. This is the After Hours Radio Show. And to all you space travelers, this isn't a goodbye nor a farewell. But you can best believe that as we go off air for the night, we will be back next weekend. You guys all take care. Much love. See you soon. We're out of here. Okay. Yeah. Awesome show tonight. Awesome stuff. That's a wrap, guys. That is a wrap. That is an official wrap here at the After Hours Radio Show. Awesome weekend of stuff here. If you missed anything, Aguinas yesterday, awesome conversation. Go back and check that out. Also tonight, we want to thank Andrew Radziewicz for having an awesome conversation with us tonight. We will be having him back. Man, what more can I say? I want to thank everybody who came tonight, whether you're out here on Twitter, whether you're out there on X, Twitch, terrestrial radio stations, just everyone around the world. Thanks for coming in. Pleasure doing this show tonight with you guys. I'm your host, Mr. Rob G. This is the After Hours. And wait, first, before I get up out of here, let me go ahead, because we did have some awesome support tonight. Let me go ahead and lay it on out real quick. Deb from Sacramento, awesome stuff. Thanks for your support. T-Bone, thanks for your support. Richard Minnick, thanks for your support. Ange, thanks for your support. Richard Minnick, thanks again for your support. Deb from Sac, killing it. Thanks for your support. And then Deb from Sac again. And that's not it. Hold on. Aloha Dave, thanks for your support. Richard Minnick again, thanks for your support. And Susan Alloway, thank you so much for your love and support of Spaced Out Radio. Once again, I'm your host, Mr. Rob G, and we are out of here. Enjoy the rest of your night. Have a great week. Check out Dave Scott tomorrow, and I'll see you guys next Saturday. All right? Later.
Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with a cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration. Beat in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab and then take it. Like a disease, bring them to their knees. No case for their disease. Just like a weed, spread into the streets. It's time to make them bleed. Cause we just want retribution. Let's go light up the darkness. Make true of an empty promise. With gods in the weak and harmless. Take to the streets and turn them to a mosh pit. Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution.